What's good, everybody? This is your boy Retro CG, and welcome to the TSF Entertainment Podcast, YouTube. I'm your host, Retro CG.
Oh, my bad. It's really BTV. I didn't know I was waiting. My bad.
What's up, Really BTV?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
All right.
It's your
And
boy Jack of Jordans.
Adrian.
Shout out to First of the Day, which is a Black-owned company. I'm supporting Black-owned companies all this week. Shout out to the Soul Firm, which actually created this platform for us to give y'all this good content. Another Black-owned company. So shout out to y'all.
Also, shout out to our other co-host, Juggernaut of Souls. He's not able to join us today, so show gonna go on without him. We're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna sit back and we're gonna talk about Power, Book 2, Ghost, Season 2 finale, Episode 210, Love and War. So, what y'all think about the episode?
I mean. I feel like a lot of this we predicted. I mean, there was a few things that I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But the whole Monet Lorenzo playing Lorenzo against Dante situation, I think we sort of called that like 2 weeks ago. It was just a matter of how it played out. Like I said, a couple of things I was kind of like, huh? But it wasn't really too many shockers. I don't know. What about you? Damon?
I wasn't really shocked about a lot of the stuff either. Well, one thing did shock me. We'll get to that because I thought we talked about it offline. I thought it was just stupid, but
we're gonna talk about a couple of things that we thought was stupid. I thought
it was stupid, but
exactly.
Yeah, some of my predictions wasn't. A lot of my predictions were true, but a couple of them I was just like, damn.
Right. So the episodes. I'm sorry, my bad. How you feel? You started us off, but you ain't get to say how you felt about it. My bad.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. However, it was kind of all over the place for me, so I have lots of question marks.
It was a lot to follow with that whole Ocean's 11. You know what I'm saying. Well, Xavier, we already know how limited Mary's acting is. Like that ain't nothing new. But anyway, she's been demonstrating that for years. So we start this episode off. We have Monet on the yacht with Dante, and he's like, giving her all sorts of gifts, and she was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then they get to talking about the plan, and this was the first twist for me, but we'll get to that. But this was the first little twist for me. But we talked about the plan where Lorenzo has to go, and Dante is like, Kane has to be the one to do it. Now, personally, last week I said I thought that was what Monet and Kane had come up with while they was locked in the apartment waiting for Dante. I said, oh, they came up with this whole plan that they're going to play Dante against Lorenzo.
Right.
And basically, I wasn't really sure who Monet really wanted to kill, but I figured the plan was going to be for Kane to kill Lorenzo. But as a setup, I never thought that it was going to be real. So I don't know. What y'all think?
Well, for me, I thought she was going to get a 2-for-1. I thought she was going to want both of them did. She get all the money. She can be back to running the organization the way she wanted to, is where I saw it was going.
I felt as though that she was always Team Tejada. I mean, for shit's sakes, that still was her husband, So I just felt like if anybody had to go, it's going to have to be Mecca. He didn't double dip so many different times, and he didn't double cross and betray so many people that it was going to have to be him. It probably would have benefited her a little bit differently as far as money-wise go if she would have killed them both. But she ain't want her kids hating her, and Mecca was doing too much.
Well, my thing is this. My problem is this. And again, this goes back to, I don't know how much of this is Mary's bad acting or seriously, because I never felt like she really was feeling Dante. Yeah. Like I never felt like she wanted to be with him. You know what I mean? So I never thought I never really felt like it was that it was a debate. The only reason why I sort of questioned it a little bit is because of how quickly Lorenzo just put her out the house. and we know she needed somewhere to go. So I just never thought, I never really felt like it was a legit, oh, I'm gonna be with Dante, we're gonna ride off into the sunset. She was never gonna do that. You know what I mean? At least I never felt like she was ever gonna do that. So
well, for me, I wanted to see her get some of the money and all the lavish things that he was throwing at her. Okay, he had set up trust funds for all of them and the kids and all that. So I thought she was just going to finesse him where she could get, the money and stuff and then take him on up out of here. But yeah, she didn't definitely seem like she was into him from inception.
Yeah, I mean, even that night when they were out on the helicopter and they kissed, there was no, I don't know, like I never
no passion.
Like,
it wasn't like how it was with Ghost and Angela, where you could tell they love each other, right?
Did Monet ever show passion?
Yeah,
right. That's why I'm saying I don't know how much of that is her bad acting. Like, was she supposed to sell it? Like, were we supposed to think that she was really conflicted about this?
Right.
Because I never did.
She didn't show it, right?
Like her face, she got like RBF to like, she got like RBF like nobody's business. Right. Like, and it doesn't change. So I can't really, I don't know if she was supposed to sell it, but yeah, I wasn't buying. But hell, I wasn't buying it with Lorenzo. I wasn't buying it with her kids.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I never. Right. Exactly. Quintessential. She has no expression. She doesn't show happiness. She doesn't show anger. Even we'll get to that. But this it's monotone. But anyway, all right. So, the next scene we see is Tariq is looking for Lauren. He's calling her. She's not picking up. We see him getting ready for court. Effie is there. And Effie is like, she probably ditched her phone. Don't worry about it. You told her to get off the grid. And we see that Tariq is physically bothered by this. Like, he's really upset that he can't get in touch with Lauren. How we feel about it?
Well, you could obviously see the jealousy all over Effie's expression and her mannerisms. Like, she wants Tariq to have that affection towards her, especially since she's in a life with him. She's looking for him to, take up life with her now, and he's still worried about Lauren. So, you could tell she wasn't feeling that. But at the same time, she's trying to play it off that she's concerned, but really she's not concerned. Don't ask about her. I killed her.
Right. Exactly. And then go ahead, Jack.
Man, Effie is like, look, this bro is gone. Let's leave. She's okay. Let's deal with this. I got your back. I'm here for you. Let's just deal with this and just let's move. Let's just move forward with me and you. I think he has concern. Like, he likes Effie, but it feels as though he loves Lauren. Like, to me, that's what it feels as though. Like, he likes Effie because, like, she provides kind of I don't want to say a shelter, an area for a space for him to be himself, where he can discuss the things that he can't discuss, but he can't ever discuss with Lauren.
Right.
But Effie is like, let's move forward. We out of there. She on the run.
But it goes back to, and this is what Retro hates, but it goes back to that whole parallel to Ghost, to the original Power.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren is his Angela. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lauren is his Angela. Effie is his Tasha.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as he doesn't want to be like his father, he's his father. I mean, only difference is, like, because if you even think about how Lauren died, it's the same thing with Tommy. Like, Angela had to die because of who she was. She was never going to be able to be in the life like them and understand how it worked. So it was almost like she had to die. Right. So you flip it to Ghost, and it's the same thing. Like, at what point, like, Lauren couldn't keep, like, I feel like she could have been around another season, but she was never going to be Tariq forever.
She would have never accepted Tariq once she found out the truth, and she was teetering towards finding out the truth about him with this arrest and the murders and all that. I think once she found out who Tariq really was, that was going to drive away.
Yeah, she was never going to be right. Yeah. Like, she was never going to be with a murderer.
No,
she was never going to allow herself
to be able to be happy with him. Right.
Exactly.
So for that reason, she had to go.
Yeah, eventually, and like I said, I thought she would stick around maybe another season, but I knew, you just know that that's not going nowhere. Like, that there's like the situation with Diana, that's not going anywhere. But I think prediction for next season. I think Diana's pregnant because Tariq is done with Diana.
I said
Because
that.
especially after he found out she was the one that robbed him, he's done with her.
Yep.
But I think because they got to keep some sort of love triangle going on. I think Diana gonna pop up pregnant. But anyway, that's next season. We're moving on. My bad. I got sidetracked. All right. So Tariq also tells Effie basically, if I go to jail, I need you to find my sister. He explains to her how the adoption is set up. And she was like, "You really trust me with that, Tariq?" And Tariq was like, "You're the only one I can trust." And I was like, "No, you cannot trust her."
And stop telling her all your business. Not only are you telling her all your business, but you're also letting her know what your weaknesses are. You're letting her know what all your weaknesses are. So right at this point, well, up until the end of the episode, at this point, she knows that she can control you through your sister. So
can I ask one question? Why do I don't think Effie is trustworthy either. But why do y'all think that she's not trustworthy? This without going back to the incident at Choke, why do y'all think she's not trustworthy?
Well, that's part of the reason.
I would say that's part of the reason.
That's part of the reason, but
everybody in here to double cross each other.
But I was never. But he didn't. He did not cross her.
Mm-hmm.
Tariq trusted her at Choke. Remember, he told her about his sister. He opened up to her like she was the only one. Like she knew stuff that Brayden didn't know.
That's right.
And then I was never satisfied. I don't know. Again, don't know if it's bad writing or if it was meant to be vague. But I was never satisfied with that situation when they met back up last season, and he was like, you did me wrong. Da 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 da. That whole explanation never really made sense to me.
I'm gonna chalk that up as the bad writing, because it was a little vague. But I think they explained it in such a way where we're to interpret that those are the type of things that are going to happen when you're in the game. So when you're in the life, bro. I'm thinking, but as far as her being not trustworthy, I'm going to chalk it up to: do you trust Tariq? Is Tariq trustworthy?
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay, so I say all that to say is they're the same. They're the exact same. Effie and Tariq are the exact same.
That's what I was thinking. I guess that's the point that I was trying to get to is that they're one
that
and the
reason
same.
She's not trustworthy.
Just as much as she don't trust, is he don't trust her, she shouldn't trust him either.
Exactly.
Just as equally.
They're
Regardless of whether the fact if he never double crossed or pulled, the wool over her eyes or something, he still have done some backstabbing.
See, the thing about it is with Tariq, we know what his motivations are. They may be flawed, but we know what his motivations are. All the things that he's doing is in motivation for his family. He was trying to protect Tasha. He was trying to protect Yaz and all that. So all of his, all of what we've seen Tariq do is in his pursuit to take care of his family. With Effie, we don't know what her motivations are. We don't know what's inspiring her or what her end game is. So all we are left to assume with Effie is that she's in the life and she's just trying to make money. And she's going to do that regardless.
Yeah, I can see that. But I guess that was just the point I was trying to get to is like, I don't trust Effie. I don't trust Tariq either.
Yeah, I don't trust Tariq. And again, let's be clear. I don't have no sympathy for Tariq, for Effie, double crossing him. I'm just not satisfied that we're seeing who she really is. I just think it's more there. I don't know what's there. I don't know where it's coming from, but I
think a lot of what we're seeing with that character is that she was never really intended to be a recurring character. Like, I think that we could have saw the end of her. They could have cleaned that up at Choke and it would have been done. But because now she's been kind of written into the story, because they're almost setting it up where she's going to transfer to Stansfield.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, that's what it seemed like she might as well. She'd have moved in that damn dorm.
She lived there.
She lived there.
So I think what we're going to see in season 3 is her backstory. I think we're going to get a lot more of her character's backstory.
Thank you, please.
I don't think that originally she was intended to be around this long. I don't think that she was originally intended to be around this long.
Right.
Neither one of them is trustworthy. I agree.
Right. And I see the comments in the chat. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and I know y'all gonna think I'm crazy when I say this. I'm still not convinced that Lauren is dead. I'm not. I need to see a body. Because Effie just had an extra car laying around that she could crash up.
Well, she did show up in the car, so I'm
Right,
assuming
she
that the
showed up
car
in the
that she showed
car.
up in.
But who did they say they didn't have no tags and all that good stuff? But what I'm saying is, again, I might be thinking too deep. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm not, and I know I'm talking ahead. We ain't even get to that part yet. My bad. But I just saw the comments in the chat. I'm not convinced. Now I ain't seen nobody. I'm gonna just have to wait. What's up, Fresh and Highness?
What up?
So when you coming up here to talk to us, Fresh and Highness?
Right.
Put him on blast. That's right. Put him on blast.
Yeah, when you coming up here to share your words of wisdom with us, sir?
Yes,
right,
so when you coming up here to talk to us?
Right. So the next scene is Tariq is in court, and they find out that the brother is going to testify against him. Trace is supposed to be testifying, and of course now Davis is like, "What the hell does Trace know?" And he has to explain to them the whole situation with Kane, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, well, Tariq does have an alibi, but they can't really use the alibi because his alibi is Riley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I'm glad they didn't bring her back.
I'm
so glad they didn't bring her back. But especially with Braden now gone, there's no reason to bring her back. So let's just be done with her. But we also saw that they took a twist with that because when they got ready to call Trace to come up to the stand, Jenny announced to everyone that he was sick, that she had just got a call that he was sick, and that she had another witness that was going to sub in place of him to testify to the same things. And I'm like, okay, not sure that's how that works. You know,
that was a little bit different because they like, well, it'd be the same set of questions, you know. And I'm like, I don't know much about the court system. Maybe somebody out there can help me understand it. But I'm like, whoa, you just changed your witnesses. You just got an audible in the middle of the damn day. You know, like,
it would have been different if they would have explained it and said that both of these witnesses participated in the incident that I want to question them about. So either one of them can testify to what happened. That would have been better to explain.
But when I saw the preview, my prediction was when I saw the preview, I was like, well, damn, all right. So they're gonna pull Braden in. They're gonna talk him through it of what he should answer and if he has to answer it, this is how he answered it in order to get everybody off. I didn't know he was gonna do what he actually did, which is pretty much ultimately hold himself accountable for everything except for the murders.
Right. And remember, he has immunity. So that was actually kind of smart that he did it. Because remember, he has immunity. So he has immunity from whatever he says.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they did give him immunity. That's right.
Right. So that was even smarter of him to put it out there because there really, you know, based on that, there really is no blowback on him.
So even if okay, so they originally got the paperwork from about Braden being the president or whatever. The paperwork was originally to help Tariq out in order to get custody of Yas, correct?
Right.
Yep.
So even with him being the president, that doesn't mean that Tariq wasn't receiving a check from this company,
or wasn't
right?
Or wasn't involved,
or wasn't involved.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that, like he was still getting he still had to show some type of form of income in order to get custody. So that doesn't really exclude him from the involvement, of course, correct?
It doesn't, but in that moment, there was so much reasonable doubt, and her whole case had been blown up. Like had she connected those dots outside of the court and was able to set it up right? Because for real, you're right. If she had known that much information, all she had to do was ask him a couple more questions. Say, okay, we see that you're the president, but we also see your only employee is Tariq St. Patrick. Why is he working for you? What, you know what I'm saying? What did he do? If course correct is the illegal drug activity, Tariq is your employee, which basically proves my point. But she was so caught off guard and she didn't have any of that information.
And it seemed like everybody she put on the stand that was her witness, everyone that she put on the stand that was her witness blew her case. We saw the same thing happen last week with Tate. When she put Tate up there, you know, you're the prosecution's witness and you helping the defense.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yep. So that's what that was. All right. So moving on. So we'll get back to the court case. Well, actually, we already talked about it. But so we might as well go ahead and finish that up. So basically, after Braden testifies, the case is dismissed because I mean, again, Braden is able to blow apart, even though they never addressed the murders. Braden is able to blow apart enough of the case that it sort of there's really nowhere to go. Like it's so many, there's no reasonable doubt, right? Yep. Like they looked over at the jury, and the jury was like, there's no way that they were going to convict. It was just too much reasonable doubt, even though. Again, they weren't able to say that, oh, well, Braden was Tariq still could have done it, which we know he did. But it was so much reasonable doubt. There's nowhere in the world. So the judge was like, you really want to keep going with this? Like, look at your jury, And Tariq was like, what? It's over. I'm free.
And not only did they throw the case out, but they threw it out where they made it where
double jeopardy is attacked. He can't be tried again, not for that. Yep. Not for those murders. Now that don't mean they can't bring them back in the court over something else, but not for those murders.
Exactly. Yeah, and she wanted it to be thrown out with prejudice so she could retry the case, but they hit him with the double jeopardy. So it kind of goes back to how they were chasing ghosts all throughout Power, that they kept trying to pin a case on him and they couldn't.
Right. So now we see Zeke meeting up with Dante. And basically, Zeke is letting Dante know, I'm not rocking with y'all. I don't trust Monet, and you trust Monet. So that make me that make me question you.
Yep.
And again, he tried to play that mind control. He tried to play that mind control on him because Zeke asked him point blank. He was like, "You lying for her because was she really with you the night that Carrie died?" And he tried to
answer it though.
Right, he never answered the question. He was like, "See, this is about family." I was like,
and when you have kids of your own, you're gonna understand what unconditional love is.
Unconditional love. Like it was a complete
he went all around the world, but you didn't answer my question.
Never answered the question.
Yeah.
But it was he had to answer that, which leads to we get into that, it has something to do with what we discussed offline, about Mecca, because ultimately your agenda was. It wasn't more so getting to Zeke; it was more so getting to Monet.
Right.
Which if it was just Zeke, but whatever. At least he got a dope crowd.
He's doing. We see, and it kind of further pushes our narrative from last week because last week we had already put together that Mecca or Dante had arranged for the shootout at the basketball court. He had probably leaked the story to the press about Zeke's age. So what we're seeing him is continuing to manipulate.
That Zeke. Manipulation.
Yes, with lavish things, just like he's doing with Monet. He gives him a car, and he's just trying to manipulate him into accepting this new life that they want for him.
He said something about the Kings. He said something about the Kings. So was he referred to the Sacramento? Because like when he was talking, I put on my closed caption.
I thought that was the team. I thought that was the team that he was interested in going up for the draft.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it had to be a Sacramento. It had to be a Sacramento kid. They pretty much say there's nothing else going on for you here. You might as well just come with me. The Kings are still considering it, but in the meantime, between time, you might as well just roll here. But okay.
Because I think he even said something about it in another episode about wanting to go to Sacramento.
Yeah. I mean, he got a dope car, and he got to saw that jet that we all know he loves. You got to see that jet we all know he loves. So
exactly. Yeah. All right. So next we have Monet, and this was the part. Okay, this is the scene that confused the total out of me. So we had Monet talking to Kane about killing Lorenzo. This is where I got, and I text Retro and was like, okay, I'm just confused as fuck now because I thought that Kane and Monet had decided that this was the plan and Kane was in on it. But in this scene, we see that Kane really thinks that Monet wants him to kill his father. And she goes through this whole explanation about, I'm the one that's there for you. I've always had your back. I'm this and I'm that. And how dare you? And he wouldn't do it for you.
He had you beat up in jail.
Like this whole she's selling it, and I was like,
she was selling it too.
She was selling, and then when all
that failed, the gun and say, "Here, use this gun. It's clean."
Yeah, and then when all else failed, she threw Tariq in his face. Which again, why do you keep playing them against each other like that?
That's Kane Button though. Whenever Tariq is mentioned, it just seems like he gets this tunnel vision. Like
he's jealous of Tariq. He's jealous.
Yeah, like stop bringing him up. Because like when she brought Tariq up, It was like, he can't touch my dad, and we don't need him for nothing, and this, that, and the other. I do it. It was, and she was like, oh, this, you know what,
Back
killed
to
his
the
own father.
Right. And then she tells Kane that Tariq killed his father. Like,
Right.
Kane, like, Tariq know what to do. He already did it before. Like, I'm like, that's like the worst kept secret. Like,
so that put a battery in his back, and then he took off. He was like, oh, yeah, I'll do it then. If he can do it,
battery.
I can do it.
She put a full charge battery in his back. And I didn't understand the purpose of that plan.
Push every button and pull every string.
I didn't understand because really she could have messed up things just by planting that seed in Kane. So now you're exhuming his feelings towards Tariq already. You know he already don't like the boy. He don't try to set him up for murder and everything. And now you're putting him in this dick swinging contest between the two of them, where if you can't get work done, I'm gonna go to Tariq. He gonna get work done. All that was unnecessary because Kane would have been with the shit regardless. It's just like when they all band together to rob Mecca, they all work together despite their grievances. So now you're getting ready to put conflict on the table and trying to pull off this major plan that you're trying to pull off. It just didn't make sense to your plan. You're fucking up your own plan at this point.
She definitely took a big risk, because like Kane could have went off the reservation and did something else. It could have went a different way just so he could prove his loyalty to Monet and show that you don't need to read. So it definitely could have went a different. It definitely could have went a different way. But I guess she knows Kane enough to, or it could just be bad writing. But I guess she knows Kane enough to know that he won't go that far, especially with it being his dad.
And like he said, I've always done everything you asked of me, but this, and again, it didn't make sense to me, but call me crazy. So that was the part where, for me, that's where the episode sort of went off the rails for me, because that just didn't make any, I still don't understand it. Even after watching the whole episode, I still don't understand why she didn't just tell Kane, look, I need you to sell it. It needs to look real, but we ain't killing Lorenzo. Like, this is the plan, and we need to bring Tariq in. Right, and we need to bring Tariq in because of X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't know.
Why y'all think she picked Kane to do it?
The answer to that is simple. It's because she's playing off of Kane's feelings right now. She knows that Kane's upset because Lorenzo chose Drew to take over the business, and he's been kind of ousted, and so he's kind of like the black sheep. So she's just playing off of his emotions for the fact that my father chose, and I have his name, but he chose Drew. So I think that's what made it easy for Kane to be the one to be manipulated in doing so. But I guess going back to answering your question, Crystal, I was a little confused about it too. But now that we sit here and talk about it, I kind of seem to think that the reason why she did that was because she didn't maybe feel confident enough that Kane would be able to sell it. So I guess she had to make it real for him as possible in order for him to sell it, because we do know that Kane messes up everything when he gets in his feelings about stuff. So I guess she had to sell it to him in such a way that it was real, that he wouldn't run the risk of ruining the plan if he knew that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Or just more bad writing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and that's the sad part, is that we always have to question if it's that or the other.
Yeah.
But anyway, same thing with the acting. Like, I shouldn't have to, like, you got to sell it. You got to sell it. But anyway, we don't beat no dead horse. The next scene was actually, and I thought about retro on this one. This is probably the first time that Tariq tried to use his mind trick and the shit didn't work. So Tariq is talking to Davis, and he's talking about he want to stop the adoption. He's letting them know, listen, once I get my sister straight and all of that, I'm out, because he think he about to get this $2 million from Mecca. He's like, I'm out the game. And Davis is like, whatever, you a hustler. You've been hustling since I met you. You're going to keep hustling. He was like, I feel like what you need to do is go ahead. What's up, Star? You need to go ahead and you need to go and finish school, hustle, stack your money, and then you can do whatever you want to do. And he was like, nah, that's some shit my father would have done. And I'm like, how Ghost get in this?
Yeah, that was weak as hell.
I was like, what? Everything your father did was to try to set up a future for your family. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep. But Ghost is the reason for everything that's...
Right. He blames Ghost for everything that's wrong in his life. But anyway,
everything that's wrong and nothing that's good. You wouldn't be going to that damn school if you wasn't for Ghost.
Right. Yep. You wouldn't have a trust fund waiting for you. Like you got a whole trust fund waiting for you if you just fucking graduate with honors. Like, that's it. All you got to do is go to school and graduate. That's it. So with all of that being said, what I loved though was he gonna tell Davis, you owe me a refund because you ain't get me off. Braden got me off for real, and you've been double dipping, and that's just that's against your ethics. And I love how Davis called his bluff. I love that shit.
Yep.
Tariq was high.
Yeah,
First of all, I think we saw like parts of Method Man come out in that scene.
All you want to, and you go down there and expose me, but guess what? You're going to now have to put yourself back as being involved in this murder that I just helped you get off of. So go ahead and do it if you want to. I'm finna keep this money, and you finna keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, I think a little bit of Method Man came out in that scene.
Right. He was like, do what you feel like you need to do. He was like, he said, and I'm keeping your money.
And I'm keeping your bread. You crazy?
I was like, for real, Tariq, like you really thought you was gonna punk that man? You really thought like Davis of all people, if it had been Sachs, maybe. But Davis, you really thought that was gonna work on Davis?
Yeah, I'm glad he did put Tariq in his place because Tariq is just on one right now.
Because he was bugging. It was like, all right, sis, now that you got off, and you feel as though you big, bad, brave, and braiding this and the other. Don't forget who got you to this point because the public attorney wouldn't even got you to this point.
Man, they'd had
let's not play around who got you to this point.
And if it wasn't for Davis, and if it wasn't for Davis,
school, be a hustler, and I'm keeping my money.
Yep. And if it wasn't for Davis, pulling his stunts that he pulled, like how he did with Carrie and all that.
Exactly. It wouldn't even got to that point.
Yeah, you would have been convicted way before Braden even got on the stage. you would have been up out of here.
Exactly. Yeah, but I love that scene because I was like, I even wrote that in my notes. I was like, Davis handed him his ass because like we see Tariq play these Jedi mind tricks so much and get over, but on that one, Davis was like, whatever. He called his bluff, and Tariq ain't had nothing to say. All he could say was, all right, whatever, nigga. You know what I mean? Like he ain't even had nothing to say about it. Then we see Sachs meeting up with Jenny, and that's where we find out that Lauren is dead.
Lauren dead, y'all.
She allegedly was in a car accident. They found her with a bag full of money. Jenny is like, she was leaving. It's my fault. I didn't give her the protection. I took the security off of her. But Sachs already know what's up. Sachs know.
Why do you think that she left the money in the car? That was crazy. Why didn't she take the money?
To make it look like she was running.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the same thing at first, but yeah, she had to try to sell she was running.
Okay.
Effie probably took a couple of them stacks out that bag.
Yeah.
I don't think she was left with all the money that Braden gave her.
So y'all think Lauren is still alive?
I mean,
I think she's up out of here.
Until I see a body, and I understand. I just feel like with shows like this, until you see a body, I think they keep that back door open. Yeah. I feel like they want to keep the back door open with Lauren. I feel like they're not ready to make it final yet. That doesn't mean they're going to bring her back. I think they want to leave themselves the option.
Especially since you don't know what kind of condition the body that was found in the car was. Yeah. So is there identification?
Right, because did they just identify her based on, but I don't know, because then I mean Effie would have had to kill somebody else. I don't know. I believe Effie is jealous enough to kill Lauren, but I don't know if she got the heart that she pretend like she had when it really came down to it. She might have.
Maybe she sabotaged the car. Maybe she sabotaged the car so something wouldn't work in order to do it. So her hands is dirty, but it's not particularly dirty. What I'm saying is, originally my theory, it was the same as Xavier's. I think that I was like, I don't trust Effie. Effie is working with somebody, maybe impossible law enforcement, because she got jammed up and took her to witness protection. Then they don't trust Sachs, so they figured they could give his information to Sachs. That'll spin some type of way, and then we just keep going in circles until they finally nail Tariq.
Run back to Davis.
Yeah, until they finally nail Tariq. That's what I originally thought. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, but she could have sabotaged the car, and Lauren is probably dead.
But are we thinking that law enforcement and the prosecution thinks Tariq is that much of a kingpin? I mean, he's not a Rico. He's not a Rico.
But they're trying to go after the Tejadas. Remember, it was bigger. They were trying to go after the Tejadas at that point. Mm-hmm. Remember when she approached Braden and she told Braden, "Listen, we got information on Kane," and like at that point, he's a bigger fish.
The Tejadas are a bigger fish.
Yeah, the Tejadas are a bigger fish.
My point exactly, Xavier. I thought the exact. Well, I wouldn't say with Jenny per se, but I think she is working with some type of. I thought originally that she was working with some type of law enforcement, and then that's how she ended up, getting Lauren because they wanted to dead her, and if Effie was moving like that, Effie would have killed her right then and there, but she pulled up on Braden.
Well, they're definitely leaving a little feather in the hat with that because it was very easy for us to believe that in Power when she had Tariq set up and kicked out of Choke
Dan Harris
because
was
the
good, my
blood
boy.
was there. It seemed like she was working with someone then. For sure, it definitely looked like she was working with someone then. But really, all they were trying to do is paint the narrative that she was eliminating competition. But there could be some story there where they could explore that. So maybe that's why all that happened off scene, off camera.
Yeah, I just think they want to keep the back. I just feel like they want to keep that back door open just in case they want to bring her back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's just. And I could be wrong, but I don't know. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's just me holding on. But I just think they want to keep that back door open. But but Sax in that conversation, Sax also opens up to Jenny about the fact that he was actually gonna kill, he was actually gonna kill Ghost. Like he got that desperate, he was actually gonna kill Ghost. Because he was explaining to her how you could get that desperate, to want to see somebody go to jail.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
I definitely got,
Well, not only that, but he kind of sold Jenny on the whole because they start talking about Carrie as well.
Right. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Because Sax is like, it's just too coincidental. It's just too much.
And then she was like, Sax was like, well, I could see how she felt that way. I could see how she would want to commit suicide because, when I got fired and I was getting ready to get prosecuted, I was there myself. I was getting ready to kill myself.
Yeah, and she lost everything.
Yeah,
career, integrity. It was
right.
It was nothing. It was nothing else for her.
Right.
At least that's the way she felt.
Yeah,
it was believable. So
let me ask y'all this:
those two deaths right there are not going to probably be investigated now. That detective may investigate Carrie's death because of Zeke, but those two deaths were set up where they didn't have to be investigated. They were open shut cases where they looked like what they weren't. Carrie looked like she took herself out. Lauren looked like she died in a tragic accident. So nobody's going to investigate those cases.
Right. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I thought about something the way things kind of went down last night. My question is, do y'all think Lorenzo took care of Carrie? Like did Monet really leave her alive and then somebody went behind her? Because something he said when he was talking to Zeke about it, it hit me. I was like, wait a minute, did Dante have somebody following Monet, and did Dante do it? Because he
could have had one of his hitters do it.
All this other stuff.
You could have one of his hitters do it.
That would be more believable if they would have set the tone up for that. Because at that point in time, when they had the big blow up at the dinner table, how would Dante have known what was going on? That caught Monet off guard. So she didn't know that Diana was getting ready to blow her spot up. She didn't know she was getting ready to get put up out the house that night. And Dante didn't know what was going on. So how would he have known to be on her?
That's true. That's true. I don't know, but I don't know. I guess I think that's the storyline that's going to carry over. I don't think that cop is going to let it go because we already know how he get when he make up his mind about something.
Could have had somebody following her though, so you never,
right? Especially because he knew Zeke was lying. We'll get to that, but he knew Zeke was lying.
Yeah, it could have just had somebody on her. You see that he had, people everywhere.
I feel some kind of way about that. So Drew, you didn't see this gray Maxima following you everywhere you went? Everywhere you went is parked right next to you.
I mean,
we'll get there.
All right. So the next scene is Monet and Tariq meet up. I really like that Gucci sweater Tariq had on in this scene. It's really cute. But Monet and Tariq meet up, and she tells him all about the plan to kill Mecca, but how they got to fool Kane and to thinking she gives him the whole breakdown. And Tariq is like, all right, I'm in, but we can't do it till after I get my money.
Right. Let me get my $2 million. Yeah, let me get my chicken, and then we can do whatever we need to do.
Right. The other thing that Tariq lets Monet know that Dante's a snitch.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna hold that for a little while.
I thought he was gonna hold that for a little bit too.
Whatever little piece that I think she might have been holding on to with Dante, that was gone after that. Like it was a wrap. Like any
And it
question.
made her decision easier
Wardrobe
for
was
her to make.
fire every
Absolutely.
episode.
It made her decision easier for her to make. But I guess my thing is, I get strange bedfellows. I get that. But Tariq, why do you keep running up to this family every time they call? Why you keep getting yourself mixed up in all these schemes and scams with them? They don't set you up. They don't rob you. I mean, these ain't your friends. And I'm like, Monet of all is the least one that you need to be trusting. But it seems like they have more of an alliance than anything, because whatever scheme that Tariq comes up with, she be with it, and whatever scheme she come up with, Tariq be with it. So do you think that we're going to see a closer bond between Monet and Tariq?
I don't know.
Because she seems to trust Tariq. She seems to
I
trust
think
his.
so, but I'm gonna tell y'all why when we get to that. I revisit it when we get to the scene of why I think so.
Okay. Because I don't know. I'll be honest with y'all. I don't know. I told y'all at this point, I was so confused with all the back and forth. So, all right. So next we see.
That's true, Xavier. That's true. I agree. Maybe working. I think Tariq kind of likes working with the Tejada family because this is what he wanted with his family. He desperately wanted Ghost and Tommy to, help let him be part of the game and teach him and all that stuff. So that's why he was so easy to run out and do all these licks and stuff with Kanan and Ray Ray and them. So I agree.
Well, damn, Abby.
Well, they couldn't do it. Jesus Christ.
I feel some kind of way about it too, Abby.
Right. Abby said, but I always choose violence. So don't mind me.
I always choose violence.
Jesus,
so don't mind me.
Let her do some of the right.
Right. So next we see Monet meeting up with Lorenzo. And she tells him everything. She breaks down the plan. She tells him it was a setup from the beginning. She tells him, and I'm saying that for a reason, but she lays everything out. She even tells him, listen, he want me to run away with the kids, but I'm not, fuck that nigga. I'm not doing none of that.
She was Team Tejada.
Right. And she was like, he said, well, let me put a bullet in him. And she was like, nah, I got to do it. It's got to come from me. So.
They had to.
Right. She said, but I need y'all on board. We're working with Tariq. I need Drew and Diana on board, and you need to tell them that it's cool to do it. Basically, you need to let them know it's okay to work with me.
Right.
Basically.
Because we hadn't seen them have any other type of communication since he put her up out the house or whatever. Right. So that was very interesting to see. She walked over there to the bar, and she pretty much let Lorenzo know what was getting ready to happen or what she had planned for it to happen, but she needed the rest of the family on board. So that was smooth thinking.
Oh Lord. Anyway, so
Queen D, you mean Dirty D?
Right, I'm gonna say Dirty Diana for
Dirty real. Diana strikes again.
Right. So Lorenzo goes back to Drew and Diana. He lets them know what it is, and of course they're hesitant, especially Diana. But he tells them, "Listen, it's family over everything. Like I trust that this man is coming to destroy our family." Now he didn't really say he trusts Monet per se, but he was like, "We need to trust
that she would do the right thing for the family."
Right, we need to trust the plan.
She always did the right thing for the family.
And we also found out in that conversation that they realized that the soldier that Dante lent them really has been a spy,
a worker. Yep.
Yeah, McVeigh.
Yeah.
All right, so then we see Tariq and Brayden. Brayden is packing up. His daddy pulled him out of school. He got to go work for the family, the company, the family. And him and Tariq, that's when Tariq finds out they got robbed. He didn't even know they had been robbed up until that point. He said, did you clean out the stash? Tariq was like, when the fuck would I have time to do that?
Right.
I'm like, the same amount of time you had to go shopping, the same amount of time, like all the other shit you seem to find time to do.
And how you get around New York with no car.
Right. Like, all the other stuff you seem to do. But he tells them that, he said, and I'm leaving the business. Like, I'm out. Like, and of course, Brayden is still like, nah, man, nah. I'm like, Brayden, if you don't go sit your ass down somewhere.
Hot boy.
Right.
But
ready to jump to the chase.
I don't like the way they did that, man, because
I didn't either.
Yeah, because now you're trying to put Tariq into this father figure type position. and stuff like that. Like that shouldn't even been like, but whatever. That all goes back to Tasha should have been had ass anyway.
Yep, I said the same
So
thing.
that all goes back to that. But whatever.
Well, see, my whole thing about that is, I mean, well, regardless of whether or not Brayton's dad would have pulled him out of school or whatever, he should have been kicked out anyway.
He definitely would have been kicked out. Like, yeah, I mean, you might have got immunity from criminal prosecution, but there's no way in hell they keeping you on campus.
Yeah,
I mean, no, they won't keep him on campus, but
that's
hell,
what
he
he
did
also
have a whole
found out
wing.
that
Didn't he have a
Diana,
wing named after the Westons or something like
yeah,
that?
but I think there's a limitation on all that shit at a certain point.
especially when they involve criminal activity and
Right,
all
you
the
talking about
murders,
you was running a whole drug enterprise, like,
and
I
then
don't
all
think
the
they can
murders and
overlook
shit
that.
that don't happen up there at that school. Yeah, he got to get up out of here. But another thing we learned in that scene too is that's when Tariq finds out that Dirty Diana robbed him. Because he asked Brayden, he said, was my QR code used to open any of the vaults? And he was like, yeah, twice. So that tells you right there that he realized that Dirty Diana had on.
Diana was the one that
took a picture of him from the phone and used it to open the other phone. Y'all don't be trying that shit because that shit don't work. But took a picture of the phone.
You got some women out there right now trying it.
Yeah, you know they're gonna be trying it. You know somebody gonna try it.
You got some women out there right now that's trying it.
Yeah, that was slick.
Don't try that shit. It's not gonna work.
Right. Yeah. That was some slick shit. I was like, what?
Yeah. Ladies, get that out your head. It ain't happening.
Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. So then Kane comes up in there. Kane was like, y'all still don't lock y'all doors? Like, y'all ain't learned no lessons yet after all of this. But that's when Kane and Tariq end up having a conversation about the plan and how Kane got to be on board, but how, Tariq is letting him know it ain't as easy as you think. Like, killing your father, that's not no easy thing. Tariq was like, I did it to save my family, which I still don't understand why he thinks he needed to kill Ghost to save his family, but whatever. That's two seasons ago. I'm not even arguing with that.
To save himself, but
right, exactly. You did that for your own edification, but whatever. Sorry, how y'all feel about that scene? How that scene went down?
First of all, they didn't sound like any damn doors.
Yeah.
Secondly, shout out. I don't even really like velours, but shout out to the Fendi velour.
Yes, dope.
But
well, let's talk about this for a minute. Why is Tariq still at the school? He should have been put out too.
After Zeke left?
After Zeke dropped off.
Oh yeah, because that was the reason that he was supposed to that was the only term so that he could stay at Stansfield.
Yep. But that's why I was saying the minute that Zeke
and at the very least, canonical studies should be shut down right now. I mean, they don't got a professor for that course right now. Both
right, Tate about to be out. Gary done died,
and that was the whole reason of him being in that course. It was an accelerated course where he would graduate
faster.
Yeah, so I mean, really, Tariq should be in fear of what his college life is getting ready to be like. Unless they spin it where instead of Effie moving down to Stansfield, maybe Tariq gonna go to Yale. I just don't see how he's gonna stay in Stansfield because that's
Mr. Rashad Tate.
I guess, yeah. But Tate look like he getting ready to get up out of there too, though.
He is, but even with him having that seat, he still won't be able to. He still would be able to move some pieces around in order for him to get there.
Got it.
So we see Zeke go down to the police station to verify how Carrie really died. The police officer verifies what the medical examiner said, but now he's thinking, like, do you think it's more to it? Like, what you think? You came down here asking for what reason? And he was like, nah, I just want to make sure. But of course, that was a weird scene.
He opened a Pandora's box when he went down there. When he went down there talking to Whitman, he opened a Pandora's box because everybody had already came to the resolve that Carrie had took her own life. And, that was an open shut case. Now you go down here asking questions about it is now making people look into it a little deeper. And so he opened a Pandora's box with that. But he did that in grief because he misses Carrie. He wants to kind of avenge her. So he made poor decision making. Excuse me?
I feel sorry for Zeke. I can't believe I can say if I actually feel sorry for him. Why? Reason
he's
why?
Grieving just like me. He's grieving.
Get out of here. Reason
Keep
why,
going.
besides his stupid face and his big dumb look that he always be having and that weak ass jumper he be shooting, he's the most innocent in all this.
Yeah.
He's
He
the most
really is.
innocent in all this. And he's just looking for a truthful shoulder at this point because he feels
And
though
it's
he's
almost
been
kind of like
lied
a
to for
Romeo
so
and
bad
Juliet
much.
type of situation. I mean, the
He's
irony.
been lied to for 23 years.
Well, the thing about it is, though, the very thing that Monet didn't want him to get caught up in the life, she didn't want him to be a part of life. She tried to keep him out on the outskirts of the life, and he ended up losing his life because of the life. So,
Yeah. But he's the talent, though. You got to protect the talent. You got to protect the bag. That's just the way. That's just the hood mentality. Like if
given
somebody
the
got talent,
lifestyle
you
that
gonna
they
take the
like to
fall before
live,
this person takes the fall anyway. So
given
you
the
just
lifestyle that they like to live, would Zeke have been bringing in enough money to sustain the whole family's lifestyle? I mean,
yes, as an NBA player, their contracts are like 200 million max deals.
man, they
Yes,
were gonna spend up all Zeke money.
they probably were.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, they were gonna spend up all. Man,
But yes,
these folks commit murders in designer. They out here sliding on people
they
in
do.
designer clothes to commit murders. Listen, I don't think Zeke would have been
They
able to.
do.
I
But
don't think
but
Zeke would
but
have been able to give
I
enough
see
money
why though.
to
I see
support
why they
their
treated
lifestyle.
him and they shielded him away from all that, from all that shit because he has the talent. He was the way out of all this. You got to protect the talent. You got to protect the bag.
Abby, you know you wrong for that. You need to stop.
Oh my god!
What pulls my teeth? We're gonna get to that. What pulls my teeth? Because that's a point
Abby,
I was
go
gonna
get a
bring up.
recorder.
We'll get to that. Well, let's go ahead. We'll just go ahead and finish that part of it up. So later on in the episode, Whitman calls Zeke back to the police station to show him some pictures that show that Monet was in the neighborhood around the time that Carrie died. So which really confirms what Zeke already thought anyway, was that Monet lied to him about where she was and that he thinks that Monet killed Zeke.
Yeah.
We see him drive off. We'll get to what happens later, but we see him drive off, and of course, like Damon just said, he just looking for somebody to tell him the truth. Like he don't have nobody he can trust at this point.
Yeah. And he was smashing it, so that was completely different. He was looking to confine to somebody. They tell the show Zeke.
Well, so then we have
the
this.
detective did show that. The detective did go, eventually show that.
He found the traffic cams around Carrie's neighborhood.
Right, the traffic cams, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have this whole conversation, and this is basically
exactly Xavier. They're gonna split up all Zeke money on Fendi.
Basically,
right.
So then we have the scene where basically this is just setting Tate up. We see Tate, the DNC, meeting with the senator, with the congressman that they got the blackmail on, and Tate is such an arrogant ass. Like,
and I hate that they're writing his character. I hate that they're writing his character this arrogant. You could be a little bit pompous, but I mean he's just borderline, just punch him in the face arrogant.
Yeah. With your bare ass chin. Why you ain't got no hair on your chin?
Hey, ain't that? Whoa, wait a minute. I like him like that. Don't do nothing. Don't do that.
He gives him my nerves.
Just because y'all part of the beard gang don't mean nothing. I like a clean face.
Beard gang forever.
That's fine, but I like a clean face, so there's nothing wrong with him having a clean face. So
you like the little mustache with nothing else but in there?
I like a clean
That's what he got. He got the little mustache.
But he's sexy, so that's fine.
And then he got this, but he's an asshole.
He is, but he can still be sexy. Being an asshole and being sexy are not mutually exclusive.
Carrie was sexy too. Carrie was sexy too.
Carrie was sexy and she was a hoe. You see how that two things can be true?
She is a hoe.
You see how both of that can be true at the same time?
Whatever. Don't make your point. Y'all gonna leave my baby mama alone now. She's not a hoe.
Oh Lord, now she the baby mama. Lord have mercy. So Abby, whatever. Anyway, so all I was saying was we definitely see that this is setting us up for Tate's show. We see that they basically dude was really trying to push back because Tate was so arrogant and he was like, man, fuck it. He was like, it happened 20 years ago. I'll take my chances. He was like, they'll forget in 6 months. And they were like, yeah, they'll forget in 6 months. And in 6 months, I'll endorse you for the Senate seat. And so he basically is losing the Congress seat, but they're telling him after the scandal blows over, then they'll endorse him to make the Senate race. So everybody walks away with something. But I don't trust Tate as far as I can throw him, and I don't think that plan is going to work out that way.
I don't trust Tate either. You backdoored your own brothers in order to get to the spot that you at now. Effort to get to the spot that you're on now. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. And I don't trust no man that ain't got no hair in his chin. They actually can grow it. Fact.
Well, if you're gonna go there, DJ, he needed a high chair because when he was sitting in that chair, he like a little kid sitting up there in that chair. He needed a booster seat for the chair he was sitting in. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't like how he did his brother either. That was dirty. That was dirty, right?
That was real dirty. So why the hell?
Real dirty.
He can't be trusted. And even Sweeney said he was like, "Yeah, good luck with this one," because he know he can't be trusted.
Yeah, he told DNC dude, he said, "Good luck with this one, because you're gonna have some on your hands with this."
Exactly.
Because extortion and blackmailing ain't gonna end at here. It ain't gonna end at here.
Right. Wait till you have something that he wants.
Right. And again, what pulls my teeth, I agree with you 100%. Because later on in the episode, we see Tate. We might as well go ahead and just finish that up. Yep. We see Tate with his brother, and his brother talking about he lost his job. But last week, Tate said he made sure that he didn't lose his job. So what happened?
Right.
And then he lost his job, and the witness didn't pan out. What did they say about the witness? Because they made a comment about they had tried to reach out to the lady in the park, or they had found out that she wasn't a credible witness or whatever the case may be. So the brother lost his job really for nothing.
But that's what he said to begin with, that her story kept changing. That's why he didn't go talk to her to begin with. Because her story kept changing. It's a mess. All right. So,
true.
All right. So next we see Dante and Kane talking. That's when Monet is like, listen, ain't nobody going with us. I talked to Lorenzo. Drew not coming. Diana not coming. Zeke ain't coming. It's just me, you, and Kane. And Lorenzo was like, well, maybe we need to put a pause on this. And Monet is like, no, we need to go on with the plan. And that's when he tracks the bag. Oh, that's the other part I forgot. Tariq decided, he figured out a way to, forward the calls so that the tracker looked like he was still at school. I was like, come on. But we find out that Tariq is meeting up with the lawyer. And we found out that he was able to successfully stop the adoption. And he asked Tariq, are you sure? Are you sure about this? And he's like, yeah. Dante sets up the meet with Tariq to come and get his bag and when he can get his money. And then the shit happens. Sack shows up and gives Tariq the bad news. Mm-hmm. And I think we saw a little bit of emotion out of Tariq. Tariq, the best actor not the best, but he's one of the best actors. As much as we might hate his character, he's one of the best actors on this damn show. He gives us the emotion.
Him and Takal and Sax.
Yep.
Sax is good.
He really was upset when he found out that Lauren was dead.
I have to give him that. He is a good actor. The guy that plays Sax. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Well, I guess it was a little emotion. It was guilt. It was frustration because this is what he didn't want to happen.
Right.
That was the whole purpose of him calling Brayden to get her out of Dodge or whatever. Exactly. So in my mind, he's probably thinking, damn, should I just left it alone? Wish she would have been okay. The whole purpose of him making the moves that he was making was to try to protect her from harm, and it inadvertently ended up happening.
Pretty much.
Right. So I think next season, I think that's another mistake for next season. I think next season he's going to figure out that Brayden did it. Because remember, he asked Brayden when they were at the dorm room when he was packing up his stuff, he asked Brayden about Lauren, and Brayden was like, oh, Lauren, she drove off without me. She good. She took off. And he was like, she just left. He was like, yeah, she left without me. And then when Kane was in there, Kane asked Brayden, so you took care of all of that?
Yeah.
Brayden was like, yeah, it's all good. And Tariq was looking at them like, how Tariq making that face.
Right. Like, what y'all talking about? Y'all talking about some other shit.
Exactly.
So Ebony, this is how I'm going to explain that, Ebony. So Ebony's going back to the cell phone and the tracking. Okay, this is how I'm going to explain that, or how I interpret it. Tariq left the phone at the dorm. The location services are on the phone that's being tracked. He just forwarded calls to his phone so that if anyone called the phone, he would answer it. But if anyone tracked the phone, it would be at the dorm. That's how I explained that away, because I didn't understand that at first either. When he was like, "I'm just going to forward the calls." Well, are you going to forward the location services on the phone too?
Right. Right, because people be how people be tracking you using that location on your phone.
You know what pulls my teeth? I kind of agree with you, because we see that a lot with Sax. At some points he's kind of like against Tariq, and then other points he seems to be kind of feeling sorry for Tariq and trying to help him. Which one is it?
Sex is led by emotion.
Which one is it? I mean, do you want to take him
led,
down? Do you want to take him down, or do you want to help him along the way?
He led by emotion. He actually felt bad because he felt as though that he's not lying about this one situation that he probably didn't have nothing to do with.
He didn't do this, right?
So he didn't do this, just like when he was like, "Well, hell, you actually didn't kill the cop." Like, like he's more into the truth, and he's more sympathized, empathy with the truth. Somebody telling him some nonsense. Now, the moment that Tariq do something else, Sax is back on his ass.
I think it kind of goes back to what Tamika was trying to tell him when they was at the coffee shop, that there is some good left in him.
Right, we can save him. Yeah,
we can save him. So maybe that's what he's calling back to, is that okay? Maybe I can do something with this kid, but at the same time, he also realizes he is a St. Patrick.
He is a murderous bastard.
He's a murderous little bastard. Yep.
Basically. Right. So after that, oh, hold on. Let me get to. I got to go to my next page. I got like 4 pages of notes. All right. So after that, Sax goes and confronts Davis about it and lets Davis know that Lauren is dead. And he basically tries to put it on Davis, like, if you had never let Tariq listen to that wire, she would still be alive. And Davis was like, "Whoa, you're not gonna put this on me. Like, you're not about to flip this back around on me." But Sax has pretty much made up in his mind that this is on Davis, and that Davis basically gave Tariq the ammunition.
But he said Tariq and Kane.
Yeah.
He said you let Tariq and Kane listen
to
that.
He thinks he let Kane listen to it too, because he knew he was double dipping.
Well, he thinks that because Tariq heard it, that Kane knows about it too at the very
right.
Yes.
Right. But I thought it was interesting that he said Tariq and Kane instead of just Tariq. But you're right. Davis was like, that ain't got nothing to do. You can't put these bodies on me. You can't put Carrie on me. You can't put this on me. That doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with the outcome, which I believe that ultimately kind of did.
Yeah.
I mean, it did, but it didn't. Lauren signed her check when she wore that wire.
Yeah.
Because remember, it wasn't so much
she cashed it, but it was cashed by Tariq once he heard the tape. Right.
Because honestly, Tariq gave her, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact, if Tariq did it, I guess that's true, because all reads lead to Tariq. Because if Tariq had never said nothing to Effie wouldn't have never said nothing to Kane. So I guess you're right.
Exactly.
I guess you're right.
Stop telling this woman all your business.
And that was
you pillow talking too much. He double dipping.
That was a moment of reckoning for me for Tariq. I still don't like the character, but to hear him say that, everybody that's around me end up having to go away, or they water get turned off because of me. I'm toxic. I'm radioactive. Right. I need to stay away from people. And she was like, "Well, no, you got me. And she been to be thirsty or whatever, but your water getting ready to get turned off too if you keep messing around with Tariq. Tariq is toxic, and just like the grandma told him, every bad thing that's happened to the family is because of you." And he's now realizing that. So I think that kind of goes back to the dream he had last week with all the people that lost their life because of him, with the exception of Jukebox. I don't know why they didn't show Jukebox. But is Tariq realizing that, okay, the way I'm moving, the things that I'm doing, it's causing people to lose their life all around me. Like, ever since you got up here to the school, people have lost their life like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Xavier, Effie is manipulative, but at the same time, even as like a 19-year-old boy, if you mess around with all 3 women, you're not taking information that you get. You should not be taking information you get from this woman or something about this woman and pillow talking with the next woman that you're sleeping with, because they all kind of going in the same circles. They all somehow, some way intertwined with each other. So why
Especially when
are
you
you
know that
giving
two of
this
them, especially when
information?
you know that two of them are in the life. They the same girl.
Right. So
They the
why are
same
you
girl.
giving this type of information? That's one thing that I just don't understand. I'm not mad if he's smashing all three at the age
Now,
of
I didn't have an
19.
issue
Go
with
ahead,
him
do your thing.
confiding in Lauren. I didn't have an issue with him going to Lauren for his source of comfort or his morality or whatever. But I had an issue with him constantly running up to Diana and constantly running up in Effie face, telling her all your business. And you know that these women are in the life. And you're
Yeah.
all you're doing is giving them ammunition to use against you later on down the road, dummy.
You just slept with all three at some point. They all have been around each other. Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing that for? Like, that's just messy and sloppy. So at that point, that's why I'm just like, whatever. I'm not mad for him smashing on three. You're a 19-year-old kid. That's what you're going to do anyway, or whatever. But I am mad that you're not for somebody to be so manipulative and move these pieces the way he wanted to move. You couldn't control that.
Right.
You could have controlled that whole narrative, and he blew it.
Especially when you don't been robbed by both of them. Both of them don't robbed you at this point.
Right.
And
You
Diana
control
don't
the whole
rob your
narrative.
ass. Like they the same girl.
Basically.
Yeah.
So we also found out Davis reminds Sax that he need to be on that case. And I mean, Sax don't know it's his brother, but basically on the case to get his brother off. Now we find out later on in the episode that the brother's like, look, I talked to the doctor. It ain't looking good. Don't worry about me. Because if he pushed too hard, they're going to find out that you the one that really did it. He was like, I don't want to get out just to change places with you. And again, I just feel like this was a throwaway storyline. I didn't understand why they even put this on the show.
Or they should have saved it for next
season.
season. Or they should have saved it for next season because that would have gave Davis a story arc for next season. Unless he has someone else to prosecute next season, there wouldn't have been a story arc for him. So
I think it still does.
They should have
it created a backstory only because if you go back, you'd be like, well, the person was 4 inches taller. You see that he said that, little bro, well, I'm 4 inches taller than you. So apparently what happened or whatever.
We know that Davis, like you originally said, Davis was the one that committed the murder. We know that
he committed the murder. And I think at some point in the next season, it's gonna come and bite him in the ass. He's gonna come get brought up by Sax.
We know that Sax
or something like that. They're gonna find some way to try to get him disbarred and get him, away from for him to lose his license. And I think that story will come into play during season 3. So I think it has some type of relevancy. I just hate the way that it was kind of spotty.
But you know what? But they could have had that one scene at the end of the season. They didn't have to do we had 3 scenes all season with Redman, and it was the same conversation all 3 times. You know what I mean?
Like there was no expanding. There was no expanding on the story.
Exactly. They could have had that scene that they had at the beginning of the season where Davis gave the case to Sax. They could have had that in last night's episode at the very end when Davis said, Sax, I need you, I haven't, it's time for you to earn your pay. I need you for something. You know what I'm saying? And then showed him the case. And then we could have seen Method Man going to jail saying, look, I'm getting you out of here. I got somebody on it. And they could have had that same conversation when he said, look, don't have them pushing too hard because we don't know what they're going to find. And they could have left it at that. And that would have still took us into next season with the same information we've had all season long. You know what I mean? I agree. I agree it's a decent storyline for him for next season, but they just didn't have to drag it out like they did. It just didn't connect to nothing.
But you know what? What pulls my teeth? I'm kind of thinking about that too. I was thinking about that earlier. We've heard so much references about Lauren's brother, and we haven't been introduced to who Lauren's brother is. So, is there a possibility that we're going to see Lauren's brother?
Maybe, because I agree with what pulls my teeth. I agree that Lauren's family, that's not their personality. They would just let this go like that. Like, they're just going to believe. First of all, the fact that she took off without telling them nothing. She didn't even have a bag with her. Remember, all she had was her purse. Like,
and a car that they didn't own and that she didn't own. She had her own car.
Exactly. So that whole storyline, that definitely wouldn't have been it would have been more to it.
But then they say that she thought she was going to DC to visit somebody or something like that. They thought Lauren was going to DC. She told her parents that she was going to DC.
Yep. But given the fact that what she's going through and she's in the midst of a murder trial, she's a witness, and they've had her in police protection, there's no way that her parents should have let her out of their sight. So I feel like that was bad writing too. But then again, going back to that back door left open. So that could be part of the reason why the back door is left open with Lauren's character, where people think she's dead, but she's not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So speaking of Tariq telling Effie too much, of course, the first person he went back to was Effie and told Effie that Lauren was dead. And Effie, you know, did what Effie does, and whatever. Like, whatever. Y'all got anything to say about that?
Not really.
I'm with you. Like, it's whatever.
All right. So now we got a surprise this episode. We got a blast from the past. Next thing we see.
Yes.
We see Tasha St. Patrick.
Tasha St. Patrick.
What's her new name? Vanessa what?
Vanessa Edwards.
Vanessa
Edwards. So it looks like Tasha. Looks like she's some sort of college professor, because they actually call her professor at one point. She all of a sudden hears somebody. We see her. Now the first thing that I'm gonna call bullshit on, and I hate to be nitpicky, but the first thing I'm gonna call bullshit on is she had a whole family picture sitting at her place of her, Tariq, and the kids. That's bullshit.
That is.
Yep.
You are not. There's no way she would have had a picture of her family.
Yep.
That's number one.
Yep.
Then, she heard somebody at the door. She wasn't sure who it was. Come to find out, it's Tamika. And Tamika was the one that called her professor, which made me think, oh, is that what they got her doing? They got her teaching. And we know she did go to college. And we know she's smart as hell when it comes to finances. So I'm going to give her that. I was
thinking that too, because she was on the computer, and then, she had books.
Right. And it said the book said something about financing or something like that.
Yep.
So if it's like some small little community college somewhere, I'll get him that. Right. But all of a sudden, she opens up the door. It's Tamika there. And who comes running out the car?
What pulls my teeth? She got on a good wig.
She did have on a good wig.
That wig.
It's better than that wig they had her on.
Yeah, that's the best wig they've ever had, Tasha. What are you talking about?
But you can see where it's kind of right. You know what? Whatever.
We're gonna let that go, y'all. We're gonna let it go. So we see her reunited with Yasmin in that nice Burberry coat. Look, Burberry, Fendi, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton. They keep them. And Christian Dior.
And Gucci.
And this episode, they were running Celine.
Because Tariq had on the Gucci cardigan. I was like, hey, that ain't bad. Then he had the Gucci
Celine on
too.
This episode. So, I mean, they just got all the fashion houses.
Gucci cardigan was fire.
Yeah.
Right.
It really was.
I'm just trying to be like that.
I like that. Hey, CP texted me last time. I like that Gucci sweater. I was like, I do too.
Right, that Gucci cardigan was nice.
I want that.
Right. So we find out that Tamika said she pulled some strings, which again, I gotta call bullshit on that. Tamika, you got fired. What strings do you have to pull?
And you're in private practice.
Right. I mean, even if you still have friends over there, nobody over there owe you nothing.
And they can't rock with her like that no way, because of the terms when she left her position.
Right. That's what I'm saying. She got fired.
She got put out, yeah.
Not that wig look crispy.
Look something.
All right. So she's reunited with Yasmin. They got new names, identities, yada yada yada. And she asked about Tariq, and Tamika tells her basically, let that go. Don't think about it. She said, well, I just wanted to make sure he's okay. And, basically, Tamika was like, you don't even want to know what your son been up to. Like, you don't even want to know.
She said, I don't even know the person you're speaking of, actually.
Yeah, I don't know who that person
is. Right, like, I don't even know who you're talking about. I don't even know who you're talking about.
But the crazy part, man, she has access to the internet. So
right.
She following
everything. Yeah. Like, you could be Googling Tariq and know exactly what's going on. Right. But here's where I gotta call bullshit for the third time in this scene. How the hell is Tariq there?
Where are they?
Remember at first they said she was in New Mexico, but that was like New Mexico. But my thing is, there's no way in hell that somebody as recognizable as Tasha St. Patrick, she had been in newspapers, her face had been all over the TV, she had actually been arrested for this. There's no way in hell that they would have had her in witness protection close enough that anybody could have run into her. She wouldn't have been in upstate New York. She wouldn't have been in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. So how were they close enough that Tariq could be in the car You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Right.
Oh, come on.
It goes crazy, and I didn't even think about that. I just let my imagination go.
And I
and
hate
was
to be
like,
nitpicky, but I was sitting there thinking, how the fuck is Tariq there? Like, he got a whole, I mean, I know he don't have a tracker on him anymore, but he got a whole heist that he's planning in New York. Like, what? When did you have time to take a road trip with the FBI? Like, what the fuck?
And where was the road trip at? Because they wasn't supposed to
Right.
be close. Like, did they go to like New Mexico? Some
They
shit
said
like
she was
that?
in New Mexico. So what, y'all got on a
Right.
jet and flew? Like,
So
come
they
on.
got up to the jet. They flew back in
And
the
look,
same day.
listen, you
Maybe
fly
they got on
from
Dante's jet.
Chicago you fly from Chicago to the West Coast all the time, right?
Mhm.
Now from New York to New Mexico, come on.
Maybe they got on Dante's jet.
Maybe they got on an invisible jet, like Wonder Woman. I mean, like, well, how the fuck did they get? Anyway, it just was unrealistic that Tariq was there. Sorry, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Nah, she
Well,
would have been in the East
what
Coast.
would have been
Period.
believable since Tariq wanted to talk to her so bad or whatever. Right before they brought Yaz out, they should have had Tasha or they should have had Tariq on the phone and gave Tasha
Right, they
a
could have
phone.
had Tariq on the phone, or they could have showed Tariq back at the office watching all of this happen on a video.
Yes,
You know what I
that would
mean?
have been more believable. Yes,
Because I agree, Fresh. They might have lied about her being in New Mexico, but I go back to my original statement. It's no way they would have had her that close that they could just get in the car and ride.
yeah,
They wouldn't have had her that close. Her face is too recognizable in New York.
And Tommy coming for that ass.
Well, didn't Ray Ray say that in the dream? Didn't Ray Ray say that to Tariq in the dream that Tommy gonna get your mama?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
sure did.
Tommy coming for that ass.
So I don't think we've seen the end of that. Tasha thinks
Right. What pulls my teeth? He had time to go on a road trip to find Tasha, but he couldn't get Lauren out of town. I mean,
yeah. He had time to get Tasha, but couldn't get poor Lauren out of town. Poor Angie.
Well, he couldn't move. Well, he couldn't. Tariq couldn't move.
Well, no. Now that we talking about this, they did say in the episode when Tariq, the last time Tariq asked about her, remember Davis and them said that she was on the move, that her location, that she was moving to a new location, that she was in New Mexico, and then Sachs came back and said, well, she was in New Mexico. So maybe they brought her back to the outskirts of New York.
I don't know. I just don't believe they would bring her
again.
Again, I never worked for witness protection, but it just seems to me that they wouldn't put her somewhere that's that close.
Maybe she's in Canada now.
Right? Maybe if she had. You know what? I might give you Canada. I might. Yeah. That's still a hump. That's still a hump.
From Buffalo to Niagara Falls, we're talking about what, maybe.
Yeah, but from New York City to Buffalo is a couple of hours.
Yeah. So maybe she's in Canada.
It could be Canada, but I'm thinking.
I doubt it. But anyway,
they was in Queens, right? If you in Queens,
we're not gonna dwell on it. We're not gonna dwell on. I just have to point it out, y'all. I just gotta point it out. But we're gonna
be a Utah Jazz fan. So
then Tariq meets up with Drew to explain about the bag, and they go through this whole 3-card Monty. Basically, they're gonna have 3 different bags, and they're gonna use one as decoy, so nobody's gonna know what a real bag is. We see them roll up and do the bag.
Why would they give the real bag to Diana of all people?
My thing is, how did on short notice did they find the same goddamn bag? 3 of them.
Amazon.
Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Same day.
But that didn't look like a bag that just you run in the store and just buy 3 or 4 bags. Like it looked like a. Anyway, again, I'm being nitpicky. I'm gonna let that go. Okay, they found the bag. I'm being nitpicky. They found the bag.
Retro. Diana should have been the last one that got the bag. The real bag.
There's no way. Listen, all Diana needed to do was stay at home and cook. Just stay your ass out of this.
Yep.
Yeah, go make dinner for Poppy. Go stay your ass out of this.
Yeah. This is let me make you a sandwich.
This was the first thing she did when he came home. Poppy, let me make you a sandwich.
Right. They did this whole breakdown, and Drew gonna say to her, Diana, don't look in the bag.
That's an invitation. And
I'm not even putting that on Diana. That's on
don't
anybody.
Touch wet
you give me something to tell me don't look. That is the first thing I'm going to do when I'm not around you is look. And maybe that's to my own detriment, but I'm just telling you.
No,
I'm nosy like that.
It's the dumbest thing ever. It's like a kid going to and it say wet cement. You're going to write your name in that wet ass cement.
Wait a minute. Retro, you would do the same thing. If I gave you, I know you would. If I gave you a bag and said, don't look in this bag, just go take it. Just take it to Jack of Jordans, do not look in this bag. You are going to look in the bag.
I'm
I
not
know
gonna
you
look
are.
in it.
Me?
I'm not
You.
gonna look at it. Oh, I ain't looking at it. I don't
You
want to
wouldn't
be
look in the
accomplice
bag?
to a
I
damn
wouldn't either. I
thing.
wouldn't either.
It's the reason you
Yes, you
told me to look
would.
at it. You're not
Whatever.
gonna accomplish me to shit.
I don't
I don't
believe
know
y'all.
nothing.
I
I
don't
didn't
believe
see
either one of
nothing.
y'all. Anyway, I don't believe y'all.
But the crazy part is she didn't say anything about the informant papers. So you
Right.
tell me the only thing that she saw in the bag was the bank account information.
What is Tariq
She ain't
pulled
saying
that?
about the passports or anything.
But that makes me think
What
that
if
they're
Tariq
not in
pulled
that
it?
bag. That Tariq still got them papers.
That's where I was going with
Yeah.
that. That's where I was going with it. Tariq still got
Yeah.
the papers.
I think Tariq pulled that.
Because listen, that's gonna be Tariq's ace in the hole next season when we'll get there. But when that detective starts coming for him, that's gonna be his ace in the hole. But we'll get to that at the end of this episode.
Mhm.
Well, since she found paperwork in the bag about the bank accounts, is it safe to assume that they've already been set up?
I think so.
I think they are.
So maybe she does end up with the money after all there.
I don't know. So how do y'all feel about this whole plan to play 3-card Monty with the damn bags?
Ocean's 11.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we see McVeigh is right there following them. He wasn't fooled. Dante wasn't fooled. They knew that it was some okie doke going on. They knew it was some flipping dipping going on.
That irritated me because Carlito is following Drew all around the city. This gray Maxima just show up everywhere. Every scene. That gray Maxima was there, and nobody took notice of the fact that we being followed.
But y'all remember the last episode, and I was like, the last show that we did, and I was like, yo, I think like BSK is, behind the shooting. I think it's possibly BSK, that possibly shot at Zeke and Monet. Maybe I moved too far along. But I was like,
you're right. Authentically young, you're right. I forgot. Tariq did still have on his ankle bracelet. You're right.
Get Xavier about Diana, Queen Diana. Someone share Queen Pin.
Ain't nobody fooling with Xavier and his queen.
You only make sandwiches when she wants.
She only makes sandwiches when she wants to.
Make you a sandwich, Poppy.
All right. So after we see this, Drew gets a text from Everett talking about something. I need to see you. It's an emergency. Listen.
Please kill him. Get rid of him.
There's absolutely no reason in the world why Drew was supposed to go up to that school until the mission was complete.
There's a reason why he should have went up there to kill him.
Right. You text your boyfriend and say, I'm working on some family business. I'm not going to be able to get up there till tomorrow. Are you kidding me? I was like, are you serious right now?
I'm so sick of that story.
Let's go on.
I'm so sick of that story. Especially with Zeke off the team now. Zeke is dead. Get rid of Everett. There is no reason for this character.
He serves no purpose.
There is no reason for this character anymore.
He is a threat to your family, Drew. Kill him and let's move on.
Yes.
So then we see, all right, so now we get to some action. This scene was actually pretty tight. I like this scene. We see Tariq in the car with Kane, and they're waiting on Lorenzo to hit the exchange so they could, and this is where Kane thinks he's supposed to be killing his father. But the two of them end up doing what they do. They always end up bickering and shit, going back and forth over the same. They arguing over the same shit. Then Lorenzo pulls up, and they go inside. And this scene, I thought this scene was actually pretty decent. This shootout, but just as now, do y'all think that
it didn't make sense to me? I have questions about that, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, go ahead. I was just gonna throw a question out. Go ahead.
Well, one, I would have liked to see that Kane and Tariq had some type of a makeup. I would like to have seen where Kane would have explained what his disdain is towards Tariq. Why? Because I felt like once he came to that realization that Monet was pitting them against each other in that episode, that his beef with Tariq would kind of go away. So, when he started asking about Lauren and whatever, I really expected them to have a conversation about why Kane doesn't like Tariq. I was looking for them to have some type of further explanation as to why Kane is so threatened by Tariq. Second, I really didn't understand the whole scene at the warehouse whatsoever, because weren't they there for a re-up? So how did the bag get brought into the equation? Because wasn't Lorenzo, the whole purpose of Lorenzo being there was for the re-up? So how did we get on this whole narrative about the bag?
I didn't understand how the bag just showed up anyway either. Like, there was never a conversation that it was like, okay,
because Mecca had said to Kane that I arranged for a small re-up for Lorenzo, that was the place where they were supposed to go and take him out at. So Lorenzo's purpose of being there was to get Tariq.
Right.
And they were
you're right. I don't know how the bad guy did, child. I don't know how the bad guy did
bring into the equation.
I told
I don't
you
know how the bad guy involved either.
Yeah, I told you this whole plan lost me. So I kind of just was writing notes as I saw it because I said y'all gonna have to explain some stuff to me, but okay, y'all, we can't explain it to each other.
Yeah, we're confused. I told you I had questions about that.
Right. So the question that I was gonna throw out was, do you think that Kane would have been able to pull the trigger if Tariq hadn't stopped him? Because Kane was about to, he had it lined up like he was going to take the shot. Yep. And then Tariq was like, yo, we're not here to kill your father. Like, we here to protect him. Like, I'm like, what? Y'all think he would have been able to pull the trigger?
Nope.
I think if he would have missed.
I think he would pull the trigger.
Ebony and Xavier, it ain't so funny.
Damn, I'm telling you, they listen.
Yo, she is going in on Diana.
I'm right there with you though, Ebony. I don't like her either.
I don't like her either. At first, at the beginning, I was like, all right, she cool.
Okay, so Xavier is saying that Lorenzo was supposed to be exchanging the bag.
But when? When did that happen?
I don't know.
Because then that would mean that but no. Well, I don't know because remember they blamed the robbery on Lorenzo.
Okay, so
right.
Okay. So that's right. They did. They blamed the robbery on Lorenzo. We keep thinking back on who really did the robbery.
Who really did it. Yeah, so maybe that's how Lorenzo got in it.
Okay. All right. That makes sense now. Good job, Xavier, because I missed that one. That one went over my head.
Yeah, it went over both of our heads. All right. So we have the whole shootout. Then they end up taking out all of Dante's soldiers.
And that's unrealistic too.
Yeah, well, they took them all out.
Killers. These are trained killers. They should not have been able to take them out that easy. Street thug. Street thug.
They kind of went in there.
But guess what? Who wasn't shown and who didn't get taken out was old girl. What happened to Raquel?
Was her name Raquel or is it Rocky?
It was Raquel, I thought.
Whatever that is, but I think that the whole thing with that warehouse say, I think because Kane and Tariq kind of had to drop on them a little bit, it kind of gave them somewhat of an advantage because they didn't know that it was there, but it's only somewhat of an advantage.
Maybe so. But in that moment, that was a fine time to tell Kane that who the target was. I mean, and thank God.
Because what if he would have pulled the trigger?
What if he right, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why
he already had him in the line. He could have lined him up right there.
Right, and it seemed to me like Kane. I mean, I know Kane can be a loose cannon, but in this one, I don't think he would have went rogue. I think he would have followed the plan. So I don't understand the need to keep him in the dark. Like I just didn't understand it.
Because anyway, he played his position in the first plan that they came up with the robbery. He played his position, so I agree. I felt like he would have played his part,
right? So,
I felt like because they know that he can be unpredictable.
Yeah, it was too much of a risk. It was too much of a risk.
Whatever. They probably should have just came clean with him, so he could just have a complete understanding of what the hell is going on. But because he's so unpredictable, because of the whole switching the sugar thing and what he did with Mecca, they probably felt as though that it was better for him leaving in the dark. But like I said, what if he would have went rogue and he would have, you know what? I don't need Tariq to do this. I can catch Lorenzo on my own time and do him in.
I don't know.
I don't like disrespecting badass kids either.
Right. Well, at the end of the shootout,
and this show is full of them.
At the end of the shootout, they realized that Drew is in trouble because they realized that McVale or whatever has been keeping a tab on them. But this is the other part that I thought was stupid. When they picked up dude's phone and realized that Mecca was waiting for a text back saying it happened or
why didn't they send a text?
Why didn't he text him back?
That's what I was too.
He opened up his phone. He used dude's eyes to open up the phone. Why didn't he text back? Got him. Done. Something.
Right.
Like
that would have made sense.
Because when
Mecca realized, the picture of the bag.
Right.
The picture of the bag.
Exactly. When Mecca realized that he wasn't getting the text back, That's when he called his handler and said, I think I've been compromised, because he knows something ain't right. Now, he don't know which direction it's coming, but he knows something ain't right.
Right.
All right. So he tells
I agree.
Monet to tell Tariq to meet at the penthouse. They got to change the plans, because again, he knows something ain't right. He just don't know where it's coming from. Now, while that's going on, Tariq, Tariq and Kane are running up the campus to go save Drew's ass.
Tariq went on to get the bag from
Oh,
Diana.
no, that's right. I forgot. Right. Tariq wasn't with Kane. Kane went up to Kane.
Yeah.
So we see Drew with the boyfriend, and the boyfriend is mad because he realized that Drew stole his damn ID and went into a part of the school that he wasn't supposed to go into. And Drew was trying to play the Jedi mind trick on him, talking about, so you don't trust me? Why would I do that? I don't have time for this right now. You didn't have time when you
like, you don't think my trust is important? I was like, no.
I guess what I'm having a hard time understanding with this.
No, Xavier, he didn't. I just looked at that scene again. The dude, he didn't text him. He was waiting. He was looking at the phone. He was like, let me know when it's done. He never got a text back saying that it was done.
He didn't.
That's why he freaked out and called his handler. Yeah.
That's why he called his handler, because he knew, again, he didn't know what had happened, but he knew something didn't go according to plan.
Well, here's my thing about the whole ID, because we talked about that last week, about that ID going to show back up again. My whole thing with that is, if security had flagged Everett's badge saying that he went into an unrestricted area, shouldn't it have been flagging Tariq's and Braden's all season? Everybody else have been up here to this building. And what about the fact that Diana hadn't been up there previously without a badge? Because you remember when she was coming up one day, and Lauren was coming down, she's like, "Oh, I'll bring you here, and you bring her." So she didn't need a badge to get up there before. That was bad writing. Why would security flag Everett's badge from going up there when you got Lauren, Braden, Tariq? They don't been up there all season.
Mm-hmm.
And security just now understanding that, hey, you got these kids up here in an unrestricted area. Bad writing. But yeah, I agree. They should have used that moment to keep finessing Mecca and let him think that Lorenzo was dead. And hell, Lorenzo could have sent him a picture of one of the fake bags and said bag secured.
Right. He could have said bag secured or whatever. So anyway, we're up on campus, and McVeigh, whatever his name is, he done rolled up on Drew, and basically they about to kill Drew. They want to know where the real bag is. They think Drew got it, but they realize Drew got a decoy too. They want to know who has the real bag, and they proceed to start whooping Drew's ass. Now, in that moment, I text Retro and was like, Drew about to die.
Yeah.
Because I really thought they were going to kill him, because I don't see no use for Drew's character either.
You don't see no use for Drew's character?
I mean, other than the irritate Kane, no.
Kane,
they kind of...
They have a love-hate relationship.
Because the way it ended up panning out, the way it ended up happening, Drew still have a reason to be alive, because he steals, what's the name, number 2. He's still Lorenzo's number 2.
Yep.
He's still Tejada's number 2. So he has a reason.
There's still gonna be further conflict between him and Kane because of it.
That's what was crazy. I thought Everett was gonna walk back out of the building and say something else, and they was gonna shoot him.
No, what I thought was, when they were whooping Drew's ass, I thought that Everett was going to come out and try to save Drew, rescue Drew, and that's how he got killed. That would have been a perfect way to send that character off.
I would have thought that he would have said something and just on the nerves, he raised up with him and just let one go, and he would have died.
Drew out there getting his ass whooped. He would have came out there and got involved in the fight, and a struggle would have ensued. He would have gotten shot and killed. That would have been a perfect way to send his character on out the door. Because
I thought that was just, I thought at least
because without Zeke in the whole basketball thing anymore, there's no use for his character anymore. He was a part of
the basketball. On top of that, he's a rat fuck just like Lauren and Mecca. He needs to die. He needs to go.
But I feel like there's different levels to snitching.
Hell no.
These people were not snitching. They were not snitching on their own. They were manipulated. They're college kids. They didn't know any better. They're not in the streets. They're not in the streets.
Matter.
They didn't know that they were snitching. They didn't know that they were snitching. They
Oh
were just
hell
answering
no! If you
questions.
rat, you rat.
It's no different than with Zeke. It's no different when they took Zeke down there and they was asking Zeke all them questions and Zeke pulled that PBA card out. Why? Because he didn't know any better. Lauren and Everett, they're innocent. They
That
didn't know
wasn't
any
snitching.
better. They didn't know any better.
He
They
didn't
wasn't
know.
they
Zeke
wasn't trying
didn't
to
know.
get
That's
anyone caught
completely
up in their
different
life.
because Zeke didn't even know. Zeke didn't even know that he was dead. So he had no idea that he was even dead. Snitching is snitching. If you see something and you see an ass whooping going on outside of the club and this, that, and the other, and you sitting there pointing fingers of this person was there, this person was there, that person was there, that's just blatantly snitching.
But if you are threatened with prosecution, then you have to think about your own self-preservation.
That don't mean
It's
you
no
ain't
different than
snitching.
what we've seen Tariq do. Tariq don't care about loyalty to anyone. So why do
That
you
don't mean
want
that
these
you ain't
other characters to be
snitching.
loyal to him? He don't care
That
about
don't mean that
the
you ain't
loyalty.
snitching because you being
I don't
disloyal
think
to
that they were
someone because
snitching.
someone's not being loyal to you. That don't mean that you ain't snitching. You
I
still
don't think that
snitching.
they were snitching. I don't think that they were snitching. I think that they just got caught up in the life and they didn't know how to move in the life. That they were just innocent. They were innocent in it and they were just being exploited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. So
But
next
that
week,
still would have been a good way to get rid of his character, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Now that I agree with. So then we see Lorenzo back at the house with Diana, and he asked her what was in the bag. She was like, "What you talking about?" And he was like, "Whatever. I know my child. What was in the bag?" And she tells him that there was information in there about bank accounts for all three of the kids, right? Well, really four if you add Zeke in. And then Lorenzo takes off. That is the dumbest shit. I don't understand that at all. I have no idea. He knew what the plan was. Monet told him that that Mecca had done all of this, that Mecca wanted to run away and take all of the kids. She told him all of this. Why would he? And if he was going to go after Lorenzo, why would he go to where the plane was? Like, how did he even know where that place was?
That's what I was just getting ready to say, because he had never been up there.
Not that I remember. Maybe y'all remember. I don't remember him.
He had never been up there because when they met, when they had their meetup, they were
I know
at
that's right, Abby.
Abandoned warehouse. They were at some kind of abandoned warehouse. How did he know where the hangar was?
Right. How did he even know to go up there? But he runs up there.
And just walked in there.
Right. No security, no nothing. He just rolled up in there and he sees somebody getting out of a car who clearly isn't Mecca. Because Zeke is like 6'20"
with a hoodie on.
And he just starts shooting.
And he walks stupid, so so
but that was a good twist. That was a good twist, poorly executed, but a good twist.
Right, because again, Zeke needed to die because there's just no use for him anymore. But the way they did that was just stupid. It was just stupid. And Zeke, if you are mad and like, why was Zeke there? Why was Zeke even go to the plane?
I don't necessarily think that he needed to die per se. He didn't earn his death. His water should have got cut off this way. Now they were gonna cut his water off. They should have let it happen later on in the season.
It was just no reason for him, though.
They should have made it. They should have made it where Zeke got into life and his water got cut off that way.
He wasn't smart enough to be in nobody's life.
But the thing is, if you were going to bring the rest of Monet's family in next season, if you was going to bring the rest of Monet's family in next season, then you need to keep Zeke around for that. But I don't see the point of them bringing Monet's family in next season now that Zeke's gone. I mean,
I don't know. I guess they show up for the funeral.
This is probably the third funeral that we've seen in the series of the whole Power series period. So maybe they'll have a funeral for Zeke, right?
Maybe they're gonna have a good old funeral for him, child.
Yeah, you know, Monet's
right. I don't understand why Zeke was even getting on the damn plane. That just didn't make sense to me that Zeke was even gonna get on the plane. You realize that Monet lied to you. You don't trust him.
I guess he was going to just say run off with. I didn't understand that party unless he was just coming to confront them.
Maybe, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe he was going up there to confront them. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he was going to confront them.
It could have been done better. It could have been done better. It could have been a phone call. Hey, are y'all at the plane? Y'all loading up for the plane or whatever? I'm on my way. I decided I'm coming. It could have been, I don't know. You already don't trust them. So what are you going on the plane for? Do you feel as though he had nothing else to gain in New York and he might as well take his chances or whatever the hell?
Yeah, because remember what Mecca told him.
They could have put something in between to put those two pieces together.
To explain why he came to the decision to want to go get on the plane. Right.
Yeah, because ultimately led to his death.
We didn't see that resolution at all.
Yeah.
Poor Zeke. Poor Zeke.
Whatever. So while this is going on, Monet and Dante are at the penthouse, and that's where Monet finally pulls her gun on him and lets him know, listen, it was never you, nigga. It was never
Ain't shit
you.
sweet. Ain't shit
And
sweet.
he's letting her know that, he would have moved mountains for her. He loved her, blah, 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 blah. Now, while this is going on, Tariq is on his way up on the elevator because Dante just let him in the penthouse.
Another
And
unbelievable
Monet shot
scene.
him point blank in the head.
Another unbelievable scene.
Well, tell me, why was it unbelievable?
Well, first off, it would have been one thing if Tariq would have went up the back stairway like how Drew and Lil Guap did, and Monet would have had the back door open. But for him to go to the front desk and say they're expecting me, first of all, you showing your face. You're on camera at the front desk. They see the bag in your hand. You get up on the elevator. How did y'all get out of there? How did they get out of there and not be seen? They scrub the cameras for Mecca's penthouse, but what about the cameras for the rest of the building? How did they get out of there? And the only thing that they had left was a still of him at the front desk.
And how did and I mean, I guess they paid off the doorman because he didn't remember nothing.
That's what I was thinking too. Now, what it would have been, I would have accepted this scene, no problem, if they would have shown when Tariq went to that front desk and say they expect me at the penthouse and gave that front desk guy some money like how he did the girl at the juice shop.
Right.
If he would have done something like that, then that would have explained that, okay, they're paying the doorman off. Or it goes back to what we were saying last week about how did Monet get into the penthouse? It's the same thing. How did they get out? And then there's gunshots don't ring off in the building. Everybody in the building should have been on high alert.
They heard it on the elevator.
Yeah, he heard it
on the elevator. When the penthouse was that high, then he wouldn't have heard it on the elevator unless he was just getting. I mean,
I agree with pulls my teeth. At this point, why even that's what Retro just said. Why even bring her family in now? If Zeke's dead, they really don't need to bring them in.
Right.
Because there was a better story. There was a better story to be told with that. Because now we could have seen it could have been like a Mercedes and Patrice Woodbine type mother-daughter relationship. We would have seen where, okay, hey, this is why Monet turned out the way she was. If they're going to bring the family in, and the family made this decision for her about hiding Zeke's paternity and his age and all that stuff. But I'm not interested in this story anymore. Now the character that is related to is gone. So
exactly. I mean, I really don't care anymore either.
Yeah.
All right. So back at the house, Monet's back at the house. She lets them know that it's done. Lorenzo shows up. Diana's there.
And they back at the dinner table again.
And she says to Kane, she said, "So Kane, are we good?" And he was like, "Yeah, we good, but I don't think they good."
Well, that conversation is going to come up. That conversation is going to come back up again. Why did you trick me into thinking?
Right? Why didn't you think? Right? Why didn't you think you could be honest? But you told Tariq the story. You told Tariq the plan, but you still left me in the dark. Like again, I just don't understand why we keep recycling this whole Tariq storyline with what's his name with Kane. Like it's so redundant.
It is very redundant at this point, and it's not making any sense to the story, unless it's just driving further conflict for future seasons and future episodes. That Kane and Tariq is always going to have this adversary type relationship.
Because I see in the future one of them will have to go.
Yeah, one of them is going to have to go, but see, neither one of them can take each other out. Because of Monet.
See, that's my prediction now. If y'all go back in time, y'all remember at the beginning of the final season of Power, what did I tell y'all? I said Tariq is going to kill Ghost because it's going to have to be that whole, Kane, father and son. I said it at the beginning of the season, and I feel the same way. That's going to be the series finale. One of them is going to have to kill the other in order for one of them to be the king. And if it's going to be Tariq, then eventually Tariq is going to kill Kane, but not right now. They're just going to keep doing this headbutting thing for however many more seasons. I think that's going to be when they finally decide to end the season. Right, when they finally decide to end the series, I think it's going to come down to Kane and Tariq. I think that's going to be the showdown. But I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think that's going to be the showdown.
I think this series is going to end a little bit differently because I hope that it's not the way it goes, to be quite honest with you, because then it's kind of going to be what we expected, What I would like to expect is they keep Tariq's character around, but just send him off to jail. What
He's
they
not
didn't
going to.
do with what they didn't do with Tommy, what they didn't do with Ghost. I mean, if they kill him, that's what we expect them to do. But if they really want to bring this show back again, with Tariq, send him to jail.
Kill him.
Right. So, but
It's
I
too
agree
easy
with
to kill
you.
him.
Again,
Oh, plenty of reason to kill him.
Oh,
right.
plenty of it, but it needs to be. It don't need to be at Kane's hand. For me to be satisfied with Tariq dying, it's gonna have to be at somebody like Tommy's hand. It's gonna have to be at like a Lisa Marie hand. It's gonna have to be somebody that
He affected directly.
Yes.
No, I'm saying, let me tell y'all something. We talked about this that final season of Power. I'm here for that. Now I'm here for Lisa Marie coming for Tariq. I am so here for it. I am so here for that.
It can't be a character like Kane. Kane, I mean, Tariq has done way worse to others and has earned his death. So for someone to cut his water off, it's going to have to be somebody like Tommy. It's going to have to be somebody like Ghost, a character like that. Hell, I could even be satisfied if it was 2-Bit. But for it to be Kane, I mean, that's predictable and expectable. We've seen conflict build up between those two characters for 2 seasons. So for whoever to take Tariq out, if they don't send him off the jail in the final episode and let him just rot in jail and let him live with all his decision making, then it needs to be somebody that he's truly taking something away from.
Like Cooper Sacks.
So eventually, everybody. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead, Ma.
No, I'm just saying. Eventually, everybody makes it back to the house, except for Zeke. And they get the news that Dante has been found dead. Da 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 da. It's on the news because he's, of course, his cover is that he's this big businessman. And Diana almost looks at Monet like, "Damn, you really did it." And Monet is giving her
like
this
she was
look
down
like,
her, like, you little bitch,
right? Like, and Monet is like, it's family over everything. And then you got Lorenzo in the corner looking stupid because he realizes that Monet was never going to double cross him. But now he's trying to figure out, well, who the fuck did I kill? Because he know that he thought he shot dude at the plane. So now he's thinking, well, who
Mecca.
the fuck did I kill?
But they say he was killed at the penthouse. So
right,
they showed it. Yeah, they showed it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
it was on the news.
Is that right? That's what I'm saying. It was on the news, so we had that going down. And now we see where they're back at the penthouse with Lorenzo's body, and once again we got a recycled character coming back. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this is unrealistic. There's no way in the world that her ass got fired from New York Police Department and now she's DEA. Come on. And
I don't see that happening either.
And she had been working with
right. Everybody keeps talking about how Billy Badass Lorenzo is. And you mean to tell me that she's the one that's his handler? No, hell no.
Because that would imply that she has been his handler since Power.
Right. And that's bullshit.
And she wasn't even a police officer. She wasn't even a detective in the other. She was on the ethics. She was a part of the police, internal affairs. She was a part of internal affairs.
Oh, she was a part of internal affairs. Right.
And she was coming to investigate Angela.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that all this time for Lobos, the Jimenez, Milan, and all them, she was Dante's handler all this time? Come on, yo. That was unbelievable.
Right. That was, and let me put a pin in that. Let's go back.
And then look, all this time she was looking for all this evidence back in Power to convict James or whatever. Why wasn't she utilizing her CI then? When she was running around here trying to get Dre to flip on Ghost, and she was trying to run around here and get all this. Why weren't you using your CI then?
So how did she become DA?
How did she get to DA?
Now so we got to go back to when Tariq was talking to Sax in the limo or in the SUV, and Tariq asked him about Dante, and he let him know, yeah, Dante is the reason why we were able to even build up a case against your father. So he kind of confirmed what Dante had said about the whole Lobos situation or whatever. All right, we almost at the end, y'all. We almost at the end.
That's a fact, French United. That's a fact.
Oh, what? Came up with the idea for them to move product. It makes Kane jealous that he didn't do it and threatened it. Yeah. Well, we definitely know they got that whole Kane and Abel thing working out. But so now we started getting into the conclusion. We see Sax talking to Jenny, basically letting Jenny know he's
Xavier
flipping.
is funny as hell.
Right,
Xavier Crystal.
I told y'all. What's the first thing I told y'all about Xavier? I told y'all.
You did.
He wild.
You did. You warned us very well about him.
Xavier, that's my baby right there. Xavier, that's my baby. But so Sax is with Jenny, basically letting us know that he's gonna flip on Davis and he's gonna start feeding her whatever information he can feed her so that she can make this case.
We need to talk about that, but go ahead, Crystal.
All right, well, we could come back to it. We see Davis with his brother. We already talked about that. We see Tariq with Effie, and she talking about transferring down to Stansfield. They all in love and shit. They all booed up. We see Tate with his brother. We already talked about that, how his brother lost his job, pissed off at Tate, and Tate just don't give a fuck. Like, he just don't care.
Tate like, come be a part of my security team.
As long as he win, he don't care about what happened.
Be the head of my security team.
You know what? I'm glad they're finally, and I didn't realize that we've had Tate this long. We've had Tate for a while now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and ever since we've had him, he's kind of always lost because he lost the Ghost. He lost the governor's race. He lost to the Queen's Child Project. So, you know, it's finally looks like it finally his opportunity to win. So this is just a segue into his show if they give him his show. Or
because I'm gonna be, I don't know if he's getting a show anymore because I saw an advertisement for Tommy and it said they saved the last Power spinoff. They saved the best Power spinoff for last, and I was like, so if Tommy is the last spinoff, does that mean Tate not getting his show now?
I guess not, unless they're setting it up for future seasons for book. So maybe he's going to just be in book 2.
Maybe they decided. Maybe they decided what we already said is that he can't carry. Like he can't carry a whole show.
Yeah, because there's. I mean, now if they.
His character can. Lorenz can carry whatever he wants.
But see, what they would have done was what they should have done. Why they should have killed Ghost off, which is why they should have killed Ghost off, was that whole story with Ghost becoming lieutenant governor, that would have made an adversary for Tate. That would have been easy to carry over to Tate's show. You know, him in the governor's mansion and all that stuff. But now that Ghost is gone, he's finagled and swindled his way to the senator's seat. Where are the recurring characters that are going to be wrapped around Tate? So you're going to bring it. It's just like with Tommy's show, and we'll get there when we talk about Tommy's show. We got a cast of a whole new cast of characters that we got to learn and get invested in or whatever, because all these characters over in Tommy are boring to me. Like, I don't know nothing about them. I'm not interested in knowing anything about them.
Listen, we'll have a Tommy conversation with Tommy, but we definitely got some things to say about Tommy. Okay, so.
But I want to talk about what pulls my teeth comment real quick. Mecca's background is still odd to me. Sells drug and weapons, has a crew, but an informant who had to be moved out of the country. So are we saying that the government allowed him to continue to operate a criminal organization as an informant?
But the government does that all the time.
Yes.
I don't know nothing about that life.
Yes.
Shut up.
If you watch Snowfall, absolutely yes.
Absolutely
yes.
Fresh, where you at, Fresh?
If you watch Snowfall,
but that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of times the government does turn a blind eye to that if you bringing them what they need, and Mecca is bringing them what they need.
Because Sax had said in the limo with when they was in there with Tariq that you know him, he was sanctioned from being in the U.S. because of what he was doing. So
which made me wonder, well, how the hell is he back in the U.S. Everybody didn't know he's there.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. How did he even get back? Right. And what was the reason of coming back? Do you believe what his reason was when he said? Because remember he told Zeke, I think that was a moment of truth, but there were so many lies that was told in that scene. It's hard to tell what was the truth and what was the lie, because remember he said I would have never came back until I seen y'all on ESPN, and that's when I came back. So do you really think that was the reason that brought him back? Or
I don't know.
Or was it Ghost's death that brought him back? What brought him back to New York, particularly?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I kind of feel like that was a moment of truth when he said that I saw y'all on ESPN. That's what brought me back.
What I do know is that when you deal with like the federal, when you deal with these on the Fed level is like that, is they know that they can pull the rug away from you any other time, anytime they want to. So if you bring it in, if you just one big fish, but you could bring 20 other big fishes with you, if I still leave you out there in the streets, then they're gonna leave you out there in the streets. They can bring him in anytime that they want to.
Yep.
And convict him on anything that they want to when they need to. But he had access to Ghost, to Lobos, to Jimenez. He has so many, like he was in so many different pockets that it was more beneficial for the feds to leave him out in the streets, tell them what they need to. They get more drugs, more guns on the streets with him being out there than him not being out there because he in so many different pockets.
And I would have really wished that Tommy. I really wish a lot of this would have been information that may be privy to Tommy since he's still alive and he was alive with all this stuff that was going on with Lobos and all them. But it was also a little nugget that Saxe dropped as well. And I wonder if this is going to change Tariq's narrative just a tad bit when he revealed to Tariq that the Eastern District would never been investigating your father, would never been involved in your father if it wasn't for Dante. Mm-hmm. So because Dante's snitching on a Lobos organization, your father and Tommy were working for Lobos, that, you know, he would have never been involved in any criminal prosecutions if it hadn't been for their CI. So I wonder what they're giving us with that.
I don't know.
Because I felt like Saxe revealing that Tariq was a moment of revelation to him, but for what reason?
I don't know. We'll find out, though. We'll find out. So you said you want. So that was. So then we see Tasha with Yaz, and all of a sudden Yaz finds this letter that Tariq gave her, which is unrealistic too. There's no way that she would have had a letter from Tariq.
When did he have time to slip it to her?
And basically, Tariq said, "I'm gonna find you. It's gonna take me some time, but
you know what I wanted to happen? What I wanted to happen instead of that dumbass letter. Remember, she showed up with the teddy bear that he gave her. What did he put in the teddy bear? The phone.
The phone.
So what I would have liked to have seen was, instead of her giving Tasha that letter, gave Tasha that phone to Tariq, and Tariq called.
That's what I thought she was getting ready to pull out when she said, "Oh, Tariq," and she reached. I said, "Oh, Tariq then gave her another phone." That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
That would have make it make sense. You see what I'm saying? That would have made sense, and then Tasha and Tariq would have been able to have that final conversation that he'd been looking for. And Tasha could have told him, like, look, go on, live your life. I'm going to take care of your ass. Don't worry about us or whatever. Mm-hmm. Closure. Give us closure. Because I still don't feel like we have closure with Tasha's character yet. I still feel like they're not going to ride off into the sunset.
But I think they're purposely leaving that. Again, it's a back door.
Okay.
I think they're purposely.
So you see there's an opening too then.
Right.
I feel like they left it crack.
Right. That's why they kept her alive. Yeah. Again, it's that back door.
Okay.
It's that back door. Especially since I told you Queen's about to be canceled. Her ass will be back next season. Anyway. You said you want to go back.
Queen's gonna be canceled, but that's another story.
Right. You said you want to go back to Saxe and Jenny. So because that's pretty much the end. So we got one last thing, but you said you want to go back to Saxe and Jenny before we get that one last thing.
Do you think that we're seeing the same thing that happened with Angela in Power? Because you remember Angela blew up her whole career trying to save Jamie in the end. Because you remember when she was working with them and, you know, she was trying to suppress evidence. And, you know, a part of that was she was trying to save herself, too, because she was implicated in these murders and all this criminal activity. But do you see the same fate happening to Saxe that happened to Angela? Because he's trying to expose Saxe now as a consigliere of the Tejada organization, which technically he's not. They thought the same thing about Proctor, but technically Proctor kind of was, but Saxe isn't. I mean, Davis isn't. Davis is just motivated by the highest payer. Whoever giving him the bag is who he's going to work for. But do you see the same fate happening with Saxe that happened with Angela? Or is this a little foreshadowing that we're going to see that Saxe is going to roll over on Davis? He's going to be a mole on the inside. He's going to feed Jenny information to try to take down the Tejada organization. Is he going to end up dying just like Angela?
That's my opinion, Xavier. I don't know if they about to cancel this show. That's my opinion.
No, they renewed for a third season. So I mean, they got another.
No, I'm talking about Queens. I'm talking about Queens. I don't know. I mean, I think that Saxe is gonna play both sides, but I think he's gonna get caught up. I think Davis is gonna be on to him, but Davis is gonna be sort of in the middle because in his mind, he's convinced himself that Saxe can get his brother off.
And I think it's gonna lead to Saxe getting his brother off, and then once he gets his brother off, he becomes disposable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we on the same page with that. DJ, what you think? What you think our fate with Sax is going to be? Because I feel like in that scene, we're getting ready to see a new dynamic duel between Jenny and Sax, where Sax is going. Whereas before, Sax was stealing information from her to help his case. Now he's going to be feeding her information to continue. I think she's not going to give up on Tariq. She's not done with Tariq.
Like
She
I
might be
said
done with
before,
him
man, I think
about
Sax.
these murders. She might
I,
be done with him about these murders, but she's not done with him. And
I think Sax reacts off of emotions, and right now his emotions is towards helping Jenny to to figure this out because he actually is emotionally invested in her, and he wants to possibly give her a win. She feels defeated, so he want to possibly help her out and give her a
he
win.
wants to save her.
Yeah, he feels as though like he's kind of been in the spot. Jenny's
Where
not
she
all the
at?
way there
She
yet,
don't been
but
where she
she's
is.
been
Yep.
somewhere in that area where she's at, and he knows where it can head. Because he already been there and done that with his infatuation with with St. Patrick, because he was like, sometimes it's good enough to walk away.
I
Sex wasn't
agree with
walking away
you,
from St. Patrick.
Xavier. Sax has been around a long time. He's been around since season 1 of Power. Like
Yeah,
it's time for his character to go, and they have really evolved his character. They've kind of almost made his character somewhat redeemable. But we were ready for Sax to go when Tommy and Ghost rode up on him and he was watching that porn. We were
Sex
ready
ain't
for him to
going
go
nowhere. You
in.
gotta keep him around.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you have to keep him around.
I think he's going to make it to the end of whatever this show is. I don't know how many seasons this show going to go, but I think he is going to. Make it a little
You
while
gotta
longer.
keep him around. As long as you don't
Yeah.
have no love interest in nobody that's involved in the game, you gotta keep him around.
So overall, how do we rate this season? I think this season was way better, way better than first season.
I agree.
First season, I wasn't ready to come back, and y'all had to pull my teeth and say, "Nah, Chris, you need to watch this. It's better than last season." Because I didn't come on board till episode 5. I didn't come on board till episode 5. So I
Yeah.
will say that this season was way better
I
than
think it
last
was
season.
better, but I hope that the writers realized, in my opinion at least, I hope that the writers realized that it was better because they pulled in other characters instead of everything being about Tariq.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled in with the Tejada family and their drama. They were able to connect it to Tariq, but they brought in other dynamics. And
And
so I hope
that's what
that
sold
they
me.
realize that and that they keep with that theme.
I
I
100%,
agree.
I 100% agree that they pulled in other different dynamics and it made it better. If it was strictly about Tariq, it probably became redundant and boring as hell.
Well, my last question before we wrap up is, what do y'all think is going to happen with Brayton? Do y'all
Impact,
still
bro.
Well, we
think that?
know Brayton is on next season. Xavier said they've already casted people to play his co-worker, so he's going to be. I think Brayton is intent on being a damn drug kingpin.
Yeah, he's
He's
gonna
going
be
to find some way to start. Because remember, Tariq didn't get this $2 million he thought he was going to get, so he back in the business, and he's got to find a new
I feel like that was a
clientele.
bit of a double cross too, because Tariq, because remember Monet tried to explain away why she killed him before Tariq got up there. She killed him, which I really don't even understand why she killed him before Tariq got up there.
She didn't have no reason to kill him before Tariq got up there. They had to drop on him.
Yeah, they had the drop on him already.
Even though he had the guns and he wasn't really trusting what was going on, but I think she did believe that Dante was going to shoot Tariq as soon as he came off the elevator. I believe that. I believe.
Because he really did have the real bag. Yeah.
Right. So
He
I believe that.
He kind of lunged at her too. Like you see, he kind of lunged at her too. He should have shot. She should have shot the hell out of him.
She tried to tell him, "I'm not the Nene that you left. Like I'm not her. Like I'm not her." And I think he lunged at her thinking he could get the gun from her. I don't think he believed that she would really pull the trigger on him.
Exactly.
I think
She shot the shit out of him.
Yeah, but I don't think he believed it. I think he thought that he.
But I think that's why she pulled the. I think that was more so. She already had it in her mind that she would pull the trigger anyway. She said she would pull the trigger, but I think that was more so.
And I agree. What pulls my teeth. Once again, it goes back to the acting. Again, we got no emotion. Like this is your childhood sweetheart, the father of your child. At the beginning of this season, we saw a little bit of reminisce out of her, and I agree. We could have got that one teardrop.
When the car was going by playing a New Edition song, you could see that in her.
Yeah,
in that moment, you could see her going back to her childhood. Where she was standing in the window looking out.
Yeah, again, I feel like that's the bad acting because you didn't give us any emotion, which there should have been some. Like, I'm not saying that she had to lay out. I mean, we got more emotion out of Tommy when Ghost got killed than we got from her. Like, it was like just another nigga on the street.
And then
but again,
it almost seems like she's always been it also, whereas I guess we can say the same thing about Tasha, but it almost kind of paints a narrative that she's always been in the life, because Dante was always in the streets.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, she always been a hustler's hoe. What I be telling about these people?
A hustler's hoe. Yep.
Ooh.
You know, we don't gave the description of a hustler's hoe. Now, y'all act like, baby, you know what the hustler's hoe is. It's Tasha St. Patrick. We have always given a job description of what a hustler's hoe is. What is it, Crystal? Established alibis. Established alibis.
She carries. She's a mule. She established alibis. She gets the weapons in the club.
Sneak weapons in the club. Sex on demand.
Right, sex on demand. She carries the weapons in the club, and she's the mule. She's the one that makes sure that shit happens. And when he go to jail, she holds him down.
Yep, hustler's hoe.
That's a new definition for me.
All right, so power never ends. So we're rolling right on into Tommy, book 4. So we'll be back later on today to talk about that. We'll announce the time a little bit later on today. Hopefully we can get Juggernaut on with us, since he's a native of Chicago. Our Chicago,
we definitely need his point of view.
We need our Chicago fans up in here, so we can get that going on later on this afternoon. So we're going to be back to talk about Tommy, and hopefully we won't have to wait so long for book 2 to come back, since they're in production now. I think they started production with a couple weeks ago.
Rotation.
But we got Raising Canaan, and then we got BMF.
Raising Canaan is coming back after Tommy. Okay.
Raising Canaan and BMF.
I feel like because Raising Canaan is a wrap. They got finished filming season 2 like 2 weeks ago, so that's a wrap. So I feel like Raising would we usually get 10 episodes. We might get a break. They usually give us like at least one break at some point. We get like a 2-week window without any episodes. So I feel like in about 3 months we'll get season 2. So we got all of February, all of March. I would say by late April, early May is when we'll probably get season 3. We'll probably start getting the trailer and the advertisements for it in about 4 weeks. I would say midway through the season.
Looking forward to that.
So we'll probably have BMF, and then we'll probably
and then BMF will run after. I think BMF will run overlap with that.
And then we'll get book 2 back in the winter again.
And then book 2 will be late summer, I think. Late summer, early fall.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think. I mean, I don't have a calendar, but just if it follows its regular schedule like it's been doing, now that they have enough shows that something is always on.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, as always, you can find us on TSF Entertainment on Instagram. Please like, comment, subscribe, share our YouTube channel. You can find me at RetroCG on Instagram.
You can find me at ReallyBTV on YouTube and ReallyBTV _ on YouTube on Instagram. That's a whole lot of ons.
You can find me outside. I'm always out there. Now I'm talking about, again, shout out to First of the Day for the merch. At First of the Day, Detroit owned, Black business owned. Go check them out. They got something for everybody.
Right. And so we up to 300 subscribers. So we got about 80 subscribers in the last 2 weeks, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So shout out. We getting there. We getting there.
We working. All right, we'll be back later on today, guys.
All right.